We end the season where we started. Portman Road, Ipswich Town face West Ham United in their final fixture of the Premier League campaign, and former Town captain Mick Mills is alongside your commentator Brenna Woolley.
So here we are, the end of another season, one which hasn't turned out the way any of us was hoping it might. It's all been too much too soon for Town, hasn't it? No disgrace in that at all, though. After back-to-back promotions, the gap between the Championship and the Premier League has just proved too wide to bridge. So it'll be second-tier football when we're back here in August, after Fabio and Ed have had their big homecoming nights here, of course. There are lots of lessons to be learnt for the past 9 months, which will surely benefit everyone connected to the Blues when we are back at this level, the hope being that that is in just 15 months' time. Mick, it's obviously sad this latest spell in the Premier League's lasted just one season, but the writing's been on the wall for a little while now, hasn't it?
Yes, I think so. I think that as soon as we got going at the start of the season, obviously the first few games were against some very, very good teams, and we knew how good they were. But as soon as we came up against the likes of Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Brentford, people like that, then you actually saw Newcastle, I would throw in the hat, Notts Forest. As soon as you saw that group, you thought, hey, this division is really good and it's probably better than what we expected it to be. There was a depth to it, and unfortunately we were unable to handle it. I think that was on both fronts. It was collectively we couldn't handle it, and individually I don't think we could handle it. So it's been a great experience. It's been a really good experience for the likes of us to see these top players at close quarters, because it's they are really good and they are great entertainment. But it was somewhat unfortunate to watch Town over a long period struggle, and I mean they did struggle. They did their best, there's no question about that, but they did struggle to get results right the way through, and ultimately we were only going to go one way, but it will have done us a lot of good. Financially, it's been fantastic for the club. The experience for the players is fantastic for them, and I think we are very geared next year to come back up. I think that if there are 3 teams that beat us next year, then I would like to know who they are now, because I'd like to have a bet on them. Because I am very, very confident in this group of players that they are capable and they are very together and they can come back up.
Just waiting for the 2 teams to come out of the tunnel off to our right-hand side. Some breaking team news as far as Ipswich Town are concerned. Alex Palmer fell ill in the warm-up, so Christian Walton is starting this afternoon for Ipswich Town. Kieran Slicker is on the bench. In total, Town have made 3 changes from the side that lost at Leicester, and Ciso, Clark and now Palmer are out. Going to come Walton, Chaplin and Broadhead as the 2 sets of players come out of the tunnel off to our right-hand side. Ipswich Town led out by their captain Sam Morsey alongside his daughter. Lovely touch, she's one of the mascots here. To his left-hand side is Jared Bowen, the captain of West Ham United. Ipswich Town's final game of their first Premier League season in 22 years is about to be live on BBC Radio Suffolk. Let's just hope Town are back as soon as possible. Let's hope at this point next season Town have already been promoted or about to be promoted from the Championship back to the top flight. So the Town team then this afternoon that will start this game in the glorious spring sunshine here at Portman Road. Walton now in goal. The back 4 of Twanzebe, O'Shea, Greaves and Davis. Then a 2 of Morsey alongside Kayuste. A 3 of Hutchinson, Chaplin and Broadhead. And it's George Hurst who leads the line again at the expense of Liam Delap, who's on the bench. Also alongside Delap on the bench, his housemate Slicker. Luongo, his final appearance for the club will come at some point. Smodix is back, having missed the last 11. Jack Taylor, Clark, Boniface, Wolfenden and Burgess. Of course, it could also be final Ipswich Town appearances for the likes of Axel Twanzebe and Cameron Burgess this afternoon, both out of contract, although talks are underway. There have been 5 changes made by Graham Potter for this game. He's also changed his goalkeeper. Lucas Fabianski makes his last appearance for the Hammers. He's leaving in the summer. Also coming into the team, Mavropanos, Alvarez, Scarles and Fulkrug, as Graham Potter and Kieran McKenna share a warm embrace down below us. Going out of the team, Areola, Cresswell, Kufal, Kudus and Rodriguez. So Fabianski will be in goal. We believe it's going to be a back three of Todibo, Kilman, who's been an ever-present in the league this season, and Mavropanos. Then a 4 of Wan-Bissaka, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse and Scarles. And then Souček linked with his former manager David Moyes at Everton in recent times. He will play him behind the front two. And Bowen on 13 goals for the season alongside the German Fulkrug in his debut campaign. He's got 3 on the bench: Areola, Cresswell, Kufal, Paquetá, Kudus, Guilherme, Ings, Rodriguez and Irving. How important is it for Ipswich Town to go out on a high this afternoon? Mick, what are you looking for from this performance?
I don't know how important the win is. I think everybody would like to see us win, but I would like us to just play well, play with a bit of feeling, and just entertain the public a little bit. The crowd have been fantastic this year. I think they would like to see a little bit of a spectacle, and if we can play the type of football that we played when we came up, I think that would be enough for the fans as well. I think West Ham are a better team than what everybody gives them credit for. I think they've had difficulties at the start of the season and during the season. They've lost their centre forward, who I think was very important to them. But I think they have some good players in there. But I think if Town are actually on their game today, there is the possibility of a win.
It certainly is. The last time Ipswich Town were relegated, that's 6 years ago now, of course, to League One on that occasion. They did beat Leeds United the final day of that particular season. I think Leeds were bound for the Premier League. They were certainly one of the big hitters in the Championship, having a successful season that time around, and Town kind of bucked the trend at that stage with a rare victory for them under Paul Lambert. And this indeed would be a very rare victory for them. Only the 1 win so far in 2025, that down at Bournemouth. They haven't even got a point here this calendar year, nor a clean sheet. Ipswich Town's 8 successive league defeats on this ground. It's the worst run in their league history at Portman Road. And of course, sadly, whatever happens this afternoon, if Town win, they end up on 25 points. It will still be their lowest tally ever in a league season. It has been pretty miserable, albeit there have been those mitigating factors that we've been talking about for quite some time now. This is Town's 4th game since relegation was confirmed. It can't be easy to go out there and put on a show week after week when your destiny has already been decided. So off go the Beatles for the final time this season. We're about to get underway at Portman Road. Town in their blue shirts with a white pinstripe, white shorts, blue socks, playing as they prefer to do from left to right up against the claret and blue of West Ham, also in their traditional kit. As both sides take the knee, the referee doing his final checks is Tim Robinson. He was here on the opening day of the season when he was in charge of Liverpool's victory at the start of their title-winning campaign, and was also the man that controversially didn't give the penalty when Chaplin was knocked down in the Leicester area and then sent off Calvin Phillips a few moments later. Let's see how Mr. Robinson gets on this afternoon. Town have got an early throw-in underneath the West Ham fans over in the far right corner. It's Kayuste in his final appearance for Ipswich Town as things stand. He throws the ball into the West Ham area. Might be a chance for Chaplin on the volley. Blocked away by Bowen. Cleared out by West Ham on this near side. The curling ball reaches Kieran McKenna. He just lobs it to Axel Tuanzebe for this throw-in directly underneath us, the number 40. It's going to be interesting to see where he's playing his football come August. Hopefully here for Ipswich Town. Here he is once again with another throw to Kayuste. His parent club's just won the title in Italy. What a season Scott McTominay's had in Naples. Davis goes back towards Greaves, a starter against Liverpool on the opening day. His first season. He'll be a terrific player in the Championship next season. Walton, that late changing goal for Town. Left footer goes long towards Hurst. The number 27 brings it down but slips. In goes Todibo and then Wan-Bissaka. He was excellent, Wan-Bissaka, when Town lost 4-1 at West Ham earlier on the season. I like the look of this lad as well, Todibo, former Nice player. Nice play from West Ham. Wan-Bissaka up towards the halfway line. That's the Mexican Alvarez trying to get it through the middle to Bowen. Too much on that ball. It's back with Walton in all yellow.
Yeah, the West Ham don't have a centre forward really that they can play at the moment, but Bowen is I was watching him then and his movement was really good. He's come in onto that central position, movement was good, and he offered himself for a through ball. He's a decent runner.
Well done, Wan-Bissaka, winning the ball in central midfield there after Chaplin tried to turn it in. Morsey almost caught at the back, but the captain actually did well to get out of a tight situation. Here is Todibo, the low socks on. Just hooked on the top of his small shin pads that a lot of players like to wear. Given away by Ward-Prowse, started the season on loan at Nottingham Forest, the former Southampton man. Town can't afford to give him a free kick within 30 yards. Nice spin from Broadhead. Relatively rare start for him this season. You know what he can do next year in the Championship. Morsey to Chaplin. Chaplin trying to get on to Hurst. There's a fair number of these players were with Ipswich Town in League One. When you look at Broadhead, Chaplin, Morsey, Davis, now Walton in the side as well. Fair percentage of this side has done the McKenna journey with Ipswich Town. Hutchinson, a big player in the Championship last season. On the edge of his area in bottle green is the Pole Fabianski. Nice touch from Graham Potter, giving him one final game for the Hammers. There is Todibo, very much the right-sided of the three at the back for West Ham, up towards Bowen. Nicely left by Bowen. Fulkrug turns, gives it back to his strike partner. Bowen down the right-hand side. He's such a good player, the former Hull man. Bowen, little ball into the box towards Fulkrug. Back to Bowen. Lovely play from West Ham. Bowen, maybe with a chance, shoots towards the side netting. Nice play from the England man.
Yeah, he's a super player, and I've been so impressed with him this year, you know, when I've seen him play. And when Liverpool were having trouble with Salah, I always thought, well, if Salah doesn't stay at Liverpool, there's a ready-made replacement down at West Ham for them, because he plays exactly the same way, left-footed down the right-hand side. He can run past people for fun, and he can score goals and create.
A bit of a surprise not in the latest England squad. Oh, Hurst gets away from the back line, and Kilman quickly out of his area. Fabianski, goalkeeper, read that well. Now in midfield, it's brought down by Alvarez, the player brought in a couple of summers ago to replace Declan Rice when he went to Arsenal. Edson Alvarez, the Mexico captain. Wan-Bissaka came from Manchester United last summer for £15 million. That was a good deal done by West Ham and Lopetegui at the time. There is Bowen going back to Todibo. Yeah, I really like Jared Bowen as well. It was the first time I'd seen him in the flesh earlier on this season, and was very, very impressive. It's Kilman who gets it back. It's actually Mavropanos who's playing in the centre there. West Ham have it on the far side, just kept in play by Wan-Bissaka. West Ham 15th in the table, could finish anywhere between 14th and 17th depending on other results. A definite drop off from last year's 9th place finish. Kilman, who's playing on the left of the three. West Ham go long. Lovely ball from Fabianski, well taken by Bowen. Took it down beautifully. Now inside the Ipswich area, needs support in the middle. Plays it towards the centre. Oh, almost an own goal from Tuanzebe. Good save from Walton. He must have been close to a heart attack when Tuanzebe played that ball back to him. Well done, Christian Walton.
Well, first of all, Jacob Greaves has missed the flight of the ball. Big long ball up in the direction of Gerard Bowen, but Jacob Greaves should have dealt with it. He didn't, and Bowen was on his way. He was 2 yards clear, but unfortunately for him, a little bit wide, but he caused problems for Tuanzebe with his ball across the 6-yard box. Tuanzebe didn't really quite know what he had to do.
It's 1-1 at this stage. When we were at West Ham earlier on in the season, it was an Antonio early goal cancelled out by Liam Delap. Still 0-0 in this 4 o'clock kickoff here on BBC Radio Suffolk. We now, of course, know the full complement of 24 Championship clubs next season, with Sheffield United and Charlton adding their name to that list in the last day. Given away by Tuanzebe. He's having a wobbly couple of moments. Souček into the middle. Might be a chance for Ward-Prowse to play it to Wan-Bissaka on the right corner of the Ipswich area. In comes his cross towards the far stick. Souček isn't tall enough. Scarles, the academy player, very highly regarded, recycles. He goes back to Kilman. Once again, it's with Scarles. West Ham playing some decent stuff. Certainly not on their deck chairs. Wandering around thinking of holidays. Clearly want to win this game. Scarles forward towards Souček in the number 10 position, picked up a little bit of space in front of the Town back line. Then it's Kilman, former Wolves player. now just south of the centre circle. Once more with Mavropanos, the Greek, former Arsenal player. Now Ward-Prowse, really made his name at Southampton, where he's won the bulk of his England caps, Ward-Prowse. Wan-Bissaka gets the better of Davis, then plays it off Broadhead as he closes him down. Wan-Bissaka has the throw-in on the halfway line far side as Kieran McKenna just picks up a water bottle and looks at his screen down below us. Todibo infield to Alvarez, gets there just a smidgen ahead of Hurst, called up by Scotland this week, George Hurst again. Alvarez trying to thread it forward for West Ham in the centre circle. He comes away with the ball, but too much on it for Scholes despite his left leg stretch. It's out of play underneath us for a Twanzebe throw.
Well, West Ham has certainly not given Town very much time to sort of get on the ball and get their passing going. They're very, very busy at closing down.
Nice turn from Kayuste. He's an excellent second half of the season, all things considered. Got the better of Ward-Prowse, goes back to Greaves. You heard the team news after 3, but have just rejoined us. Town have made a change since then. Palmer isn't playing, Walton is. Morsey over the top, lovely looking ball. Can Hurst get on there? Hurst trying to get the better of his man Mavropanos, who did well in the end when I thought that Hurst at one stage looked likely to be the favourite.
Yeah, it's a decent ball, and another one of these sort of long balls. They're a rarity in football nowadays, but they are still very effective if you can get somebody one-to-one.
Ball jab forward by Morsey, well taken by Broadhead, edge of the area. Taken on just in the end, too many plays. He was unlucky. Showed a lot of promise at the start of that move there, Broadhead. It was a nice play. He's been involved a couple of times. 0-0. Scholes deceives Hutchinson near side, gets himself some space, then goes back to the man just to his right, Kilman. Scholes again, number 57, round the corner to Souček. Got such a great name in the game for producing academy talent. Scholes, the latest one from West Ham's perspective. Flung forward by the left boot of Kilman, won by Twanzebe. Kayuste goes down, headed on by Chaplin, who was dragged over to this near side as Kieran McKenna wanted a word with Connor Chaplin to pass on some instructions. Free kick Ipswich, 30 yards out for the foul on Chaplin.
Yeah, it was an untidy challenge, and it's given Town a free kick, which is a decent one. It's sort of 30-odd yards from the byline, but it's on a really good angle if you want to try and just get the ball in the space between the defensive line and the goalkeeper.
Been a decent watch so far, these first 9 minutes. Certainly competitive here on the final day of the season, between ultimately two teams with nothing really to play for on the final day of the 24-25 football season. It's Davis, the number 3, on this free kick for Ipswich Town, bending it into the West Ham box off to our right hand side at 0-0. In it comes Greaves with a flick on header, well wide.
Yeah, it's pushed us too wide, really. I'm not always in favour of a left footer taking the free kick where it was. I think that maybe a right footer bending the ball, so the ball starts to bend away from the goalkeeper as opposed to in towards the goalkeeper, and that sometimes causes the man on the ball to actually get it well beyond where the keeper is. But obviously it pushes all the players too far, and it means that if there's going to be an effort on target, it will need 2 touches by 2 separate players.
Town have only got 1 win in the last 17 Premier League, got top flight games against West Ham. Nice play from Bowen, finding Wan-Bissaka. Bowen at the heart of everything good for West Ham. Plays a 1-2 with Wan-Bissaka. On the right hand side it's Ward-Prowse, the number 8, overlapping Wan-Bissaka. Tries to play the first time cross, low flat one onto the Ipswich area, comes off Greaves, out for a throw-in. Wan-Bissaka throws it back to Ward-Prowse. Chance for him to get his head up. Toe pokes a little short pass to Bowen instead. Back to Bowen once again. He slips a pass to Wan-Bissaka. West Ham doing it all in the left back area outside the Ipswich box. Bowen shifts it away from Davis. Very busy up front. All action player Bowen with so much quality, as we were alluding to a few moments ago. Here is Todibo. He's got an easy, languid style about him. Good ball from Bowen up towards Fulkrug. It stuck well with the German. Back towards Alvarez. Nice play from West Ham. He's brought Kilman into play. Kilman dinks a ball towards the Ipswich area. Comes off the backside of Chaplin, which helped Kayuste. Morsey gives it to Hutchinson inside his area. He wants to turn away from Scholes. Can't shake him off. Amari plays a good ball forward to Broadhead. Excellent play from Hutchinson. Broadhead gets the better of Todibo. It's 2-on-1, Broadhead and Hurst. Broadhead lost his footing, got back up, still on the ball, gives it to the right side Hutchinson. The attack is still alive inside the West Ham area. Amari Hutchinson goes towards the near post and it's easy for Fabianski.
Well, we almost got ourselves in trouble in our right back position, but Amari Hutchinson in the end had the patience to wait for something to happen. It did happen. He played a super ball out to Nathan Broadhead, and then there was a fabulous run by George Hurst, which had Nathan Broadhead got his gun loaded, then he would have been able to have hit him, and it would have been a good possibility of a 1-to-1 on the goalkeeper.
Enjoying it as a game, all things considered. Full Crook trying to float the ball to the far side. Too much float on it, easily read by Davies. He headed the ball away from Bowen. Bowen keeping that Town back line on its toes. 0-0, live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. No Enciso for Ipswich Town this afternoon. Clark on the bench. Palmer missing because of that illness in the warm-up. Walton, Chaplin and Broadhead have all come in to the team. West Ham have it with Mavropanos. As you can hear, good atmosphere at Portman Road. The crowd have been terrific all season for Ipswich Town. The vast majority have understood the situation and been realistic. Here is Ward-Prowse on the far side of the field. Gives the ball back to Wan-Bissaka. A chance for him to cross. Instead it goes infield. O'Shea steps in there. As Fulkrug made a rather forlorn dart towards the ball. Lovely change of direction from Kayuste. Brought down legally, says the referee. Play continues in the sunshine. Ward-Prowse. Yeah, that one win for Town in 17 was at Upton Park 24 years ago. Martin Russo with a goal. Long ball forward, chested down by Bowen in the D. Wins it again through the legs of Morsey. Bowen still has it for West Ham. He's quite clearly the biggest threat.
Well, he's done unbelievably well to keep possession of that ball.
It's actually 43 years since Town last beat West Ham here in the top flight. You probably played in that game, Mick. It was Russell Osman, John Walker and Alan Brazil scored in April 82. The last time Town won here against West Ham in the top flight. West Ham have the ball on the halfway line with Mavropanos. Jogs forward, gives it to the left-hand side and sculls once more. Here is Kilman, one of the big signings in East London last summer. Max Kilman. Wolves had all sorts of problems replacing him early doors. Fabianski going long, headed away by Twanzebe, well read by Skulls. He got on the ball ahead of a couple of Town players and then just loops it back to Kilman. But is that a handball? The referee's certainly blown up against Ipswich Town. It's free kick to Ward-Prowse, pretty much on the halfway line. Or an unchallenged drop ball, to be absolutely precise. Alvarez, known for his defensive strength. Alvarez. Here is Mavropanos, too much on that ball. Too high for Skulls near side. He generously gives the thumbs up to his centre half, who shakes his head and berates himself. Chaplin's gone down. Hopefully nothing too serious. As a number of players come across to this near side for a little drinks break. What have you made of the first 15, Mick?
Well, I'm first of all very impressed with West Ham's attitude, actually.
Yeah.
You know, and I did watch their sort of group chat that teams have before they sort of go to the kick-off, and I know Bowen was obviously sort of dictating the conversation there, and he looked as if he really was stirring the boys up, the West Ham boys up, you know, almost. I know pretty much what he would have been saying about he doesn't want any sort of idleness out there, and let's go and do this and do that. And anyway, when the game started, it was you need one or two in your team to lead you and to take you out of any possible lethargy that you might have and any thoughts about being on holiday. And he's been the one for me. He has led them. He's a forward player, but he's leading the rest of the team by his attitude, and consequently they are working extremely hard, West Ham. They are not giving Town very much time when Town are in possession of the ball. Town have looked quite good on the isolated breaks that they've had, but at the moment it's West Ham dominating the possession.
Chaplin up and okay. It was Jens Kajustits pulled to one side by Kieran McKenna for some 1-to-1 tuition a few moments ago. Once we had that break in play. players are able to take on board some fluids. It will be hot down there, certainly lovely and sunny for 2/3 of the pitch. Chaplin's still waiting before he can come back onto the field of play. Here is Tuanzebe. I mentioned earlier on about the championship lineup being complete. Charlton beat Leyton Orient earlier on, so we'll be back at the Valley at some point next season. A trip that I know a lot of Ipswich Town fans really like. So many of them, when I've done the My Town Top 10 feature on the Blue Arrow on Monday night, favourite away ground. It's been chosen maybe 3 or 4 times this season, so a number of people will be happy for a trip to that part of London next season. Here is Skulls with a throw-in right in front of Kieran McKenna underneath us, up towards Fulkrug. He heads it infield to Alvarez. Wan-Bissaka in open ground far side. He's found one-on-one with Davis. Early low ball into the centre. Greaves hooked it away. Ideal, the right thing to do from Wan-Bissaka, get it in immediately. Nowadays you see so many wide players hanging on to the ball, holding on to it. I love when it's whipped in first time, and that was the only thing on Wan-Bissaka's mind there. Well done, Greaves.
It was a good clearance by Jacob Greaves as well. Terrific ball in, as you said, but terrific response by Jacob Greaves.
I do get so frustrated watching an awful lot of football. Get it in the box, get it in. You see players with opportunities to whip balls in early, but they bide their time, they wait, they play little triangles until eventually teams get themselves defensively set and nothing comes of it. Here is Fabianski in the 6-yard area off to our right. Still the pitch, obviously, as if we'd seen in this day and age, in terrific condition for final day of the season. No brown patches anywhere on the surface here at Portman Road. Full credit to the ground staff, who, of course, have got to deal with boxing and a few nights' worth of Ed Sheeran over the course of the next 8 weeks or so. Lovely ball forward by Tuanzebe. Down the right-hand side, off goes Hutchinson. Skulls comes back. Hutchinson inside the area. Still Amari Hutchinson runs away from West Ham's clearance, pings off another one of their players. But thankfully for them, it goes back to Fabianski. And Town had an opportunity to make more of that.
Yeah, they did. Skulls, who's the young player who's playing the sort of left wing-back for West Ham, he started the game really well and he looks a really good prospect. But I was watching he was too anxious to sort of get too close to Amari Hutchinson when we were obviously going to play a pass to him, and Amari sort of read the situation and he's sort of gone towards the ball and then made that terrific run over the top, and Skulls was really left wanting.
Of course, final day of the season, everybody kicked off at 4 o'clock. Graham has goal news.
The Europa League winners Tottenham lead Brighton 1-0. The FA Cup winners Crystal Palace ahead away at the champions Liverpool 1-0.
As there's a loose ball on the far side, Ipswich Town pick it up. Chaplin out towards Hutchinson. Can he keep it in? Not quite. Throw to West Ham just behind left back. We're still 0-0 here, incidentally. 19 on the clock. One of a number of dead rubbers, really, when you look at the Premier League fixture list. All largely about the race for Champions League places this afternoon. Elsewhere, the big one, I guess, Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Newcastle at home to Everton. Aston Villa away to Manchester United. Man City just need a point at Fulham to be guaranteed Champions League football. Throw forward, headed down by Morsey to Hurst on this right wing. Hutchinson's beaten to the ball by Alvarez and takes a tumble off the pitch. Through to Ipswich. Dara O'Shea having a word with the taker, Jens Kayuste. Which reminds me, seeing the number 26 on the back of O'Shea's shirt. The TV camera zoomed in earlier on. Somebody had the number 26 in the crowd. Above it, "We'll be back," and underneath it, "I hope." Fingers crossed. He is right that Ipswich Town are promoted in 26. Kayuste throws the ball back to Tuanzebe, trying to catch West Ham out. Not what they expected. Now to Morsey. Morsey crosses high towards the Hammers' far post. Easy pickings for Fabianski. We're still goalless on BBC Radio Suffolk.
Yeah, it's nice to see us mix it up. Everybody's waiting for a long throw into the box and he throws it out of the box to a supporting Town player. That's okay, but when it goes to Morsey has then got the opportunity to put a cross in. His cross has got to be much better than what he produced.
West Ham given away. In goes O'Shea. Not much between these two sides at the moment. The only chance of a potential debut, by the way, on the bench is Somto Boniface for Ipswich Town. Little sentimentality in Kieran McKenna's team selection. Hutchinson infield, won't reach Hurst. Slicker could make his Premier League debut for the club now that he's been drafted in at the 11th hour. Wan-Bissaka to Bowen. once again with Wan-Bissaka, who actually plays with Axel Tuanzebe now at international level. DR Congo Wan-Bissaka. He came through the England system, but changed his mind at the last. Wan-Bissaka, well intercepted by Kayuste, read that really well, took it away from Ward-Prowse, getting Ipswich Town on the attack. Now Morsey leading the charge, 30 yards out, round the corner, gives it to Chaplin on the edge of the box. Hutchinson crosses into the centre, headed away by Todibo, up towards Fulkrug. Fulkrug controls it, plays it on just behind Bowen. In steps Greaves. Good run forward from Jacob Greaves. He's kept going out to the left-hand side. Davis, chance for a first-time cross, low into the centre, looking for Hurst, but swept away by Kilman.
Well, we wasted the opportunity down here, and that was sort of dealt with by West Ham. And then when that pass was attempted to hit Jared Bowen, I think Bowen would have wanted the ball to have gone over the top of Jacob Greaves, and he would have enjoyed a race to that pass. But it was aimed at his feet. Jacob Greaves met it nicely, intercepted, and then good attack down the left-hand side for us through Leif Davis.
Kayuste miscontrols. Only twice in history has a Premier League team gone through a season with just the one home win. Chance that Town and Southampton can both do that this afternoon, coincidentally. Hutchinson, infield to Chaplin. Now it's with Kayuste in the centre of the West Ham half. Gives it to Morsey, sets himself up, disguised though he plays the ball to Broadhead in the D. Kayuste finds Morsey. Good play this from Ipswich Town, pegging West Ham back. Chaplin square towards Kayuste. Poor ball from Chaplin. Nothing Kayuste could do with it. West Ham clear to Debo. Out to the left-hand side. It will beat Bowen into touch by a TV camera. O'Shea wanted to take a quick throw-in for Ipswich Town, and a 14th home loss for Ipswich Town this season would be a new club record, sadly.
We're just getting into the game at the moment.
Yep,
we sort of had to sort of endure a lot of possession from West Ham, and now we're beginning to enjoy a lot more possession.
Yeah, it's never looked like a dead rubber. Here is Broadhead trying to thread it through towards Davis. Davis has controlled it in the area. Wan-Bissaka with a toe on the ball, couldn't clear it. Comes back to Broadhead. He comes in field, held up by Todibo. Kayuste to Davis. Davis crosses towards the far stick. Skulls with a back header. Knocks it out for a throw into Ipswich Town, but Town are on top at the moment in this game. Quickly taken through by Hutchinson. Ipswich going for the jugular, trying to get this first goal of this final Premier League game of the season. O'Shea gives it back to Morsey. Morsey between two West Ham players finds Chaplin. Hutchinson to Tuanzebe on the overlap. His cross is floated towards the far stick. Up goes Hurst. Hurst with a header down, nodded away by Mavropanos. Out as far as Greaves. Town have got a score in this spell, you feel. Davis to Broadhead. Broadhead inside the area. Oh, what a save from Fabianski. Out as far as Tuanzebe by the dead ball line. Back to Hutchinson. Another chance for Town. Hutchinson on his left foot. Shoots deflected up in the air towards goal. Nodded up and out by Mavropanos. Tuanzebe nods it in there. He's involved in this attack. Bowen touches on to Fulkrug. West Ham should get it away. No. Kayuste wins it for Town. Davis. That was some save from Fabianski. Town very, very close to scoring. Here they go again. Tuanzebe to Hutchinson, up against Skulls. Doesn't cross, makes a mess of it. Towed away by Skulls. Town still have the ball on halfway with O'Shea. Blocked off in a challenge by Fulkrug. The ball goes all the way back to Walton.
Good spell for Town. They're passing the ball around well, and both their fullbacks, Tuanzebe, I've never seen him consistently get into such a high position, and on the other side Leif Davis was in his usual advanced position, so both fullbacks were a mile up the pitch, and that just showed you about how much control we had of the game.
Yeah, it was like Burns and Donassian all over again. Good ball forward from O'Shea to Chaplin, which has got fans excited. Here's Broadhead, he's having a nice game. Kayuste at 0-0, far side. Lovely afternoon for football here at Portman Road. It's not been a bad game at all. Town on top at the moment. Morsey towards Chaplin. West Ham know they're in a game. Lovely intricate play from Town. Tuanzebe to Hutchinson. Hutchinson digs the ball into the middle. Headed away not very far by West Ham. But again, that was really nice football. It's like watching the Ipswich Town of old. Ipswich Town of last season in the Championship. Here is Hutchinson again taking on two defenders. Almost lost the ball. Turns it back to Tuanzebe. They're working well as a pair. Tuanzebe's low cross is dealt with. Away it goes from Souček. As far as Morsey, he obliges what the fans wanted and hits it 2 or 3 yards wide of Fabianski's right stick from the captain.
Yes, good stuff by Town, but just be careful because, you know, our fullbacks now are going sort of, you know, well within sort of 30 yards of the opposition goal, and if you just take a peek at the halfway line, and on the halfway line, whilst that is happening, West Ham are leaving 2 players up against our 2 central defenders. So we must not lose the ball to a West Ham player who's got the ability and time to hit the front.
Here are West Ham near side with Skulls under the cosh a lot recently. Tuanzebe gets the better of Souček. Souček's been a great signing for West Ham down the years. Got 9 goals this season from playing in behind the front 2. Back to Graham for Goal News, 0-0 here.
Brentford ahead at Wolves, Man City ahead at Fulham.
Probably say that Man City are in the Champions League again, one would have thought. Wan-Bissaka forward towards Bowen, hooked away by Greaves though in the battle of the 2 former Hull players. Way off to our left-hand side. A good battle it is too. As the ball's out far side. Town have had a really good spell the last few minutes. Sadly though, no goals, as Graham Potter, we can see on the screen in front of us, bites his nails. Now out of his seat and into his technical area to have a bit of a shout at his team. Bowen holds off the challenger Greaves. Quick feet gets it back to Ward-Prowse. He has the switch of play out to the left-hand side. Skulls has a chance to attack Hutchinson rather than the other way around. Early ball in from Skulls, but straight into the hands of Christian Walton. That late call-up, of course, started the season here against Liverpool when Muric was missing. Todibo forward for West Ham, nicely controlled by Bowen, edge of the area. It wasn't easy. Gets it back from Wan-Bissaka. Bowen, the danger man for West Ham. Keep him out of the game, and Town have got a chance. Ward-Prowse crosses into the middle. Good ball from Ward-Prowse. Fulkrug got on it under pressure from Tuanzebe. There's no real sting on the effort, and comfortable for Walton.
Yeah, a little response from West Ham. You know, Town have just had that lovely little spell of dominating the ball, getting sort of a lot of possession 25 yards out from the West Ham goal, and now West Ham have just responded nicely with a couple of dangerous attacks.
28 minutes gone. 42nd and final commentary of Ipswich Town this season. Tuanzebe takes the free kick up towards Broadhead. Poor really though, difficult for Broadhead to deal with. Wasn't the best ball from the right back. West Ham have it, but only in midfield. Now just inside their half of the pitch in the centre circle. Mavropanos goes square to Todibo, and now that centre half is Mavropanos. Sweeps the ball to his left side, and Kilman, the number 26, he hoists it forward towards Fulkrug, trying to get the better of O'Shea. O'Shea goes to ground. He had a lot of trouble with Fulkrug there. West Ham players are asking the referee for a foul. Fulkrug still on the deck, appealing in the direction of Mr. Robinson, but nothing doing on that occasion. Morsey drops the shoulder, gets away from Ward-Prowse, finds Kiyuste. Kiyuste into the centre circle. Good work from the 2 midfielders. Chaplin out to the right-hand side. Lovely ball bent round Skull to Hutchinson. Excellent that from Chaplin. Hutchinson outside the West Ham box, still has it, pulls it back to Chaplin. He goes square towards Morsey, runs beyond him to Broadhead. Morsey again 0-0 with Kiyuste on the ball. Town working it again down this right-hand side in the shade. Hutchinson up against Skulls. Could have crossed, elected not to. It's gone back to Tuanzebe instead. Hutchinson again on this right-hand side. Had Hurst making a run towards him, wants Morsey to come short. He's given it to the captain. He holds off Souček. Town go back via O'Shea to Walton.
Yeah, they've had to do that, but that's good defending by West Ham to force that situation.
Oh, Walton almost caught on the ball. Likewise Greaves. Back it goes to Walton from Greaves inside his area. He rolls it out off his right boot to O'Shea. Now Morsey once again. Here is Broadhead in the centre of the field. Out to this right-hand side, Tuanzebe. Now with Amari Hutchinson. As Massimo Luongo just jogs back to the bench with a vest on down below us. His final appearance for Ipswich Town is imminent at some point in this match. Look at a great send-off. Kiyuste slips on the ball. Doesn't quite lose it to Ward-Prowse. Eventually does. Jab forward, but the referee's blown against the Swede, and it's a West Ham free kick on the halfway line.
Yeah, this is turning into a nice feisty game. You know, it's a dead rubber, but both teams are actually looking to win the game and are doing something about, you know, the opposition when they've got the ball. It's got a nice tempo to it.
Let's hope they can keep this up in the second half, because they can fade it. They have faded in games As the season's progressed, we've had some good first half performances, not so good second halves at times. West Ham pinging it around on the halfway line, not really getting any further forward. In fact, they've had to go back to Mavropanos, who came into the team for Cresswell. Mavropanos has run a fair distance. Now he's given it to Bowen on the far side, looking up on his trusty left boot, gives it short to Alvarez. Now it's with Todibo. West Ham have it with Souček. He pings it back to the halfway line. Now West Ham still with Todibo, who went to Barcelona at 19. He's a talent. Here is Kilman, obviously taking time to adjust fully to English football. Here he is once again, Todibo. Fabianski makes himself available. Excellent save from him, probably the highlight of the first half. Fabianski short to Alvarez. Alvarez belts the ball to the right corner of the West Ham area where Mavropanos is stationed. And he can dribble it out with his pink boots. Diagonal from Mavropanos. Just too much on it for Skulls. He was unlucky. Graham Potter applauds above his head underneath us.
Yeah, that was a little bit overhit really, but I do feel that Chuanzebi's got his sort of distances right, you know, for that crossfield pass, and just, you know, because he's in a position to threaten, a player on the ball tends to overhit.
It's a good battle between Hutchinson and Skulls, pushing each other on the chest at the moment, awaiting this throw in from Tuanzebe. We're still waiting for a first goal of the afternoon here on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. 32.5 minutes gone in this game as Cameron Burgess jogs back to the bench. As we were saying earlier on, might be his final game for Ipswich Town. Goodness me, he will go with so many well wishes if that does turn out to be the case. If not, terrific signing for the Championship season. His current deal up in the next few weeks. Here is Wan-Bissaka for West Ham, trying to get the first goal of this game. Ward-Prowse plays the ball into the centre of the Ipswich area. Fulkrug went for the overhead. West Ham still have it in the D. Alvarez tries to pick his spot, comes back off Kayuste. West Ham rebuild with Wan-Bissaka. Alvarez pulling the strings, knocks the ball into the centre. A couple of tall West Ham players up there, Fulkrug and Souček. Well done by Bowen. Bowen hits his effort, closed down by two Town players. Ipswich get it away to Hurst. He needs to hold it up. He's done well, Hurst, so far. Todibo challenges him. Both players go to ground. Hutchinson comes away with the ball, but has to play it back to Tuanzebe. Morsey shapes to go one way then the other, trying to shake off Alvarez.
See, that's the type of one-to-one with George Hurst and his marker that you wouldn't expect to see on a day that it's a dead rubber.
I thought the referee was about to play the advantage. He's given Ipswich Town a free kick for the way that Kilman clattered into the back of Hurst. Free kick Ipswich in the centre circle. 11.5 to go in this first half. Still no goals. Town have failed to score in 4 of their last 5 games. Yellow card for Kilman, first of the afternoon for a player from either side. Of course, any red card would carry over to next season in terms of a ban for anybody sent off here today. Morsey, hands on hips in the centre circle. A bit different to the final game of last season, wasn't it, when Huddersfield were here? That remarkable afternoon. Best afternoon many of us can remember at Portman Road. Phenomenal scenes at full time when that 2-0 win through Burns and Hutchinson secured Ipswich Town's passage back into the Premier League. The pitch invasion afterwards and all those scenes around the town over the bank holiday weekend and the bus top parade, the open bus parade. Let's hope it's something similar in 12 months from now. Here is Todibo for West Ham. Play back underway with a throw in far side. Standing on the ball is Fulkrug. He's had a bit of a stop-start first season in the Premier League, the German. Handful though. Alvarez, neat and tidy in midfield, goes back to the recently booked Kilman. Kilman then plays it in field to Mavropanos. Now with Jean-Claire Todibo. He finds Alvarez just short of the halfway line. West Ham in possession. Now Wan-Bissaka crossing halfway far side, closed down by Broadhead. Gives it to Bowen, who's peeled off to an orthodox right wing position. Ipswich win the ball on the halfway line. What can they do with it? Forward they come. Morsey has it. Not too many options. Glides away from Alvarez. Good strong play from the captain. Infield to Chaplin. Chaplin helps it on to Broadhead. Broadhead edge of the area into the box to Davis. He goes square but to Souček rather than Chaplin or Hurst. So West Ham clear. Bowen does very well against Greaves on the far side to keep the ball in, but another good bit of play from Town. Sadly didn't amount to anything.
Yeah, it was a decent. I would have preferred actually. Connor Chaplin looked as if he was going to take care of the situation on the halfway line, and Sam Morsey sort of took the ball off him really, and I would have preferred Connor to have possession of the ball in that area. He's just a little bit more.
Good run from Wan-Bissaka, eventually bites off more than he can chew. Morsey's in the way. Morsey comes away with the ball, gets it up to Hurst. The captain's having a good game as the balloon floats around the pitch here at Portman Road. It's that kind of afternoon when fans take inflatables and come in their dressed up gear, fancy dress. Back from Twanzebe to O'Shea, just as the balloon went right past him actually. Kept his eye on the right ball. Broadhead to Greaves. He knows he's in a game because Bowen kind of steps into Jacob Greaves' territory quite a lot. That's where he tends to operate. So Greaves and Davis having to keep an eye on the danger man. O'Shea back to go away with Ireland for their international friendlies. Twanzebe down the line to Hutchinson. Hutchinson loses the ball to Souček. Infield to Alvarez. Ward-Prowse has made a run through the middle. Alvarez still has the ball. Slips up to Fulkrug, laid off to Souček. On the left-hand side, Skulls. 0-0. He's inside the Ipswich area. Skulls goes square. Belted away by O'Shea. West Ham got him behind there and looked a bit dangerous.
Yeah, Scales is a decent player. He should have done really a lot better than what he did there. He's got a lot of time. He's got a lot of, options to pick out, but he's an interesting player. I think Amari actually has given him a hard time defensively, but he's pretty good at going forward. Here
is Max Kilman getting the ball from Mavropanos right on the halfway line, in front of the fourth official, Sam Allison, who's only refereed 2 Premier League games all season, both of them involving Ipswich Town, the fourth official. Did the Man City away game and Southampton as well. Wan-Bissaka deep inside West Ham territory. Ward-Prowse up towards Bowen. Alvarez goes back to Ward-Prowse. Skulls wants it on the left-hand side. Skulls gets it on the left-hand side, controls it. Hutchinson back defending for Ipswich Town. Infield to Souček, the number 28, up to Bowen. Bowen outside the area, moves it on to Fulkrug. Bowen gets it back and shoots. Saved by Walton. Ward-Prowse deflected away from goal. Walton will get on it and prevent the corner kick. That was good from West Ham.
Yeah, and it's that man Bowen again.
It is.
He's a super player, he really is. I mean, he's used to playing wide on the right, but because of the problems they've got with attacking players, he's had to sort of play right the way across the front line, and he's well capable of it.
Yeah, he's one of my favourites from this season. I've seen a few players that I've really liked in the Premier League. That's what's been one of the joys of this season, and seeing players that I didn't know too much about. I mean, it was obviously lovely seeing Salah and De Bruyne and Haaland, but I knew how good they were before this season. Baliba down at Brighton I thought was terrific. I loved Adam Wharton recently. I thought João Gomez, the Wolves midfielder, was very, very good, and I like Bowen a lot at the London Stadium. He's carried on in a similar vein here this afternoon. Lots of controversy at Madueke of Chelsea's in Thomas Tuchel's latest England squad at Jared Bowen's expense. Does seem a bit strange, it has to be said. Here is Kilman going back to Fabianski on his penalty spot pretty much. He gets the ball out to Todibo. Todibo up towards Bowen. Bowen with a little touch beyond Greaves. Fulkrug goes to ground, tries to get it back to Bowen. He can't manage that. Davis into Morsey. Morsey onto Kiyuste. They've played a lot of games together this season. Kiyuste. I wonder where he'll be playing his football next season. Might be, you never know. Here he is once again. Probably will have suitors in the Premier League, or maybe even back at Napoli. Twanzebe back to the halfway line, and O'Shea over the top, looking for Hutchinson in behind. Hutchinson gets away from Skulls. Real chance for Amari Hutchinson. Went towards the near post. It's out behind for a goal kick to West Ham.
Yeah, really sort of interested. This is an interesting 1v1 down this side. Amari Hutchinson versus Scales. Scales is a decent player, don't get me wrong. Yep, but Amari is actually, he's coming towards the ball and then he's spinning to go over the top, and it's that one that really is catching Scales out. He's so eager to stay at touching distance with Amari when he goes towards the ball that the spin is catching him out on many occasions.
Town hit the post. Clearly the closer we've come to an opening goal. 4 minutes to go until half-time. So I got Walton, Chaplin and Broadhead in for Palmer and Ciso, who doesn't feature at all, and Clark's former team Sunderland winning at Wembley yesterday to secure their place in the Premier League after an 8-year absence. So Town will be making the trip to Bramall Lane next season rather than the Stadium of Light. 2 trips to Sheffield. Could have done with United going up, really. You'd fancy Sheffield United to be a serious challenger in the Championship. West Ham with Wan-Bissaka up against Davis far side. 3.5 minutes plus added on to see a first half goal in this game on BBC Radio Suffolk. Ward-Prowse thankfully hasn't had any set pieces within 30 yards of the Ipswich Town goal line so far. Has scored some absolute beauties in the past. Kilman faced by Chaplin, who's run off that early knock. Chaplin, he'll be back with a couple of his former clubs, Coventry and Portsmouth, next season. Connor Chaplin. Now Axel Tuanzebe with this throw in into Morsey. Morsey to Greaves, terrible from Morsey, gives it to Bowen. Bowen goes square. Oh, Ward-Prowse scores. Terrible from Morsey. His header's in his hands, he's given the ball away. West Ham have capitalised, and for all that's been good about this first half from Ipswich Town's perspective, they're about to head down the tunnel, trailing West Ham 1-0.
Yeah, how many times has he sort of been punished for, giving the ball away? He's because he wants to be brave and be on the ball and pass the ball so close to his own penalty area that if you do make a big error, then so often it ends up in the back of your net, and he will be really. It's an awful ball, and it was red before he had even played it, and that's how sort of telegraphed it was, and just a couple of interchanges.
Perfect goal from West Ham.
Yeah, it's perfect. They've just sort of caught us, really. They've seized on that ball of Sam's. They've seen what he's going to do, 2 seconds before he did it.
That's the Premier League. Might have been a goal in the Championship, but less likely to come to anything. It's forgotten about. It's not even a half-time discussion point in the Championship. But at this level, bang, Bowen, then Ward-Prowse, and it's 1-0 West Ham. And it's one of the many, many things I love about Sam Morsey, that bravery where he takes the ball. And there are so many of his qualities I love about him, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. And lo and behold, that was one of those minutes. He knew it as well. You could see from his body language. But anyway, we crack on. He's the last player that'll ever let his chin drop. He'll want to drive Ipswich Town forward to an equaliser, then who knows. But sadly, we have seen a first half goal on BBC Radio Suffolk that's been in the net. Off to our left, so once again, Ipswich Town behind. Fabianski up towards Fulkrug. Fulkrug's header goes away from Souček. Morsey's onto the ball, gives it to Broadhead. Broadhead in the centre of the West Ham half, still has it, looking for an option, doesn't want to pick out Chaplin, felt he's been too closely marshalled. Chaplin's unhappy. On the right hand side, Hutchinson up against Scarles, overlapping his Tuanzebe. In comes his heavy cross, hit it at a nice height, lots of pace on it, wasn't one of those floated dinked ones. Greaves gets there at a Wan-Bissaka, gives the ball to Davis. Town looking for a first half equaliser, into the box it comes, volleyed away by Mavropanos at as far as Bowen on the far side, turned into a nice accidental pass. Bowen wants to run away from Davis, who held onto his arm briefly. Bowen to the halfway line, and Alvarez now to Wan-Bissaka, the goal scorer Ward-Prowse to the goal creator Bowen, who was very alert to that mistake from Morsey. Here is Todibo. Of course, Sam Morsey must be a little bit of his mind. I guess at his age wonders when he'll play, if indeed he'll play in the Premier League again after this. Hopefully he does. 2 minutes of added on time. Morsey to Hurst. Hurst flicks it on. West Ham will get on the ball through Scarles, and Scarles gives it back to Fabianski, who made himself available down the left channel of his area. He gets away from Hurst and dinks it up towards Souček. He's got 6'2" at least, Souček. Playing up against Tuanzebe. Yeah, he is. He's a right tall boy, Souček. He's been surely one of West Ham's best signings of the last, 5, 6, 7 years, Souček. Very dependable. Plays a lot of games, scores goals, works hard. Now Kilman directly in front of Kieran McKenna in the final 90 seconds of this first half. Town certainly don't deserve to go in 2-0 down, so let's hope they can defend this one. Comes off the top of O'Shea's head. Greaves has to wallop it away. Out as far as Hutchinson. There's a risk of them conceding again there. Hutchinson to Morsey. Morsey gives it back to Hutchinson. Morsey back on the edge of his area, still playing those kind of passes. Great to see. Here is Davis up to Kayuste. Town still inside their defensive third though. Kayuste back to Greaves. Greaves puts his left foot through the ball and knocks it up into the sky. Headed once and then again by Todibo. Kayuste volleys it to the halfway line. Mavropanos gets it. Kayuste's blocked off. Messy little bit of play. Bowen comes away with it for West Ham. Bowen edge of the area. In comes the challenge of Morsey. That was important. After a scrappy bit of play, immediately Bowen got it under control and looked dangerous with a bit of quality.
Yeah, it needed instant control as well to do anything with it at all, and he's certainly got it.
Out from Mavropanos, caught late by Hurst, bit of frustration from the Scotland international. Free kick at the back to West Ham, and this was almost certain to be 1-0 at half-time, and there is confirmation that it is. Off go Ipswich Town. West Ham have the lead. That late first-half goal from Ward-Prowse, his first of the season. The difference between the teams, mate.
Yeah, I think that West Ham, we sort of hinted to the fact that they're probably better than what most people in this stadium would believe they are, because you follow them from distance and you don't get an awful lot of information of them. But when you look at the goalkeeper is decent, the back three complement each other very well, and then you've got these the wing backs. Van Bazaka is excellent and does very, very little wrong. And Scales, who is just a youngster, is really sort of having a terrific battle with Mari Hutchinson. And then between them, Ward-Prowse and Alvarez is a very competent pairing. And then, when you look at the front of the team, I mean, Bowen is the one that stands out, by a mile. He's just an incredibly good player. So this is a decent team. Town have done okay. They had to sort of put up with West Ham dictating the opening of the proceedings, and then slowly but surely got themselves going. Early on they just had to rely on a couple of threatening breakaways, which weren't bad breakaways, but they didn't come to anything. And then all of a sudden, mid-half, we sort of had a good spell where we had West Ham pretty much camped in their own penalty area, and we seemed to sort of have, we certainly had 8 of our 10 outfield players within 30 yards of the opposition goal, and it was good stuff, and you just felt there was going to be a chance coming from that. Mari Hutchinson did hit the post with a terrific shot from an angle, and we didn't do bad. But West Ham were always, even when it was Town's time, West Ham always were a threat on the break, and mainly through Bowen. If they could get the ball anywhere near Gerard Bowen, then you felt something would happen. And then unfortunately, with it being a good game and some good stuff played, it was a horrendous mistake really that led to the only goal of the half. Sam Morsey looking for a pass back towards his own penalty area, didn't get it right. It was seized upon, and within 2 sort of touches of the ball, Ward-Prowse has put it in the back of our net. So they go in 1-0 up. It's a close game. It's an interesting game. I think both teams are giving what they can. They both want to win. They're not sort of on holiday. It's a decent game to watch, but we're 1-0 down again.
Yeah, it's been a better game than I expected. You'll hear every kick of the second half live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. Final 45 minutes of Ipswich Town season, during which they'll have to try and come back from a goal behind. West Ham lead them 1-0 at the break.
Elsewhere in the Premier League on the final day, the champions Liverpool trailing 1-0 to the FA Cup winners Crystal Palace at Anfield. Ismaila Sarr with the only goal of the game so far on 9 minutes. Arsenal, the runners-up, are 1-0 up away at Southampton through Kieran Tierney. Elsewhere, Manchester City looking good for a Champions League place. Ilkay Gundogan on target for Pep Guardiola's side away at Fulham. They lead 1-0. Newcastle 0, Everton 0. Also goalless at the City ground between Nottingham Nottingham Forest and Chelsea. Manchester United and Aston Villa are goalless, but Emilio Martinez, the Villa goalkeeper, has been sent off in that one. Europa League winners Tottenham lead Brighton by a Dominic Solanke penalty to 0. Brentford are 1-up at Wolves through Brian Mbeumo, and it's Bournemouth 0, Leicester 0 on the south coast. So as far as the Champions League places are concerned, Liverpool and Arsenal were already there, of course. Manchester City, Newcastle United and Chelsea are going to join them as things stand, along with Tottenham Hotspur for their win in the Europa League during the week. Aston Villa would miss out as things stand on goal difference, but would be good enough for a European place, as would Nottingham Forest. We'll keep you across all those games in the second half of our main feature at Portman Road, of course. During our half-time break, we're going to hear from England captain Leah Williamson, now a Champions League winner with Arsenal. We'll hear from Ipswich Town fan and Suffolk hockey legend George Pinner as well.
Wembley Stadium is England's sporting capital, and it was Sir Arthur Elvin who made it a legendary venue.
A man with whose name Wembley Stadium has become synonymous.
I'm Thordis Fredriksson, and I grew up being told Arthur was a famous relative. Now I'm delving into his extraordinary life.
He is a working class lad made good.
And exploring his 30 years running the country's greatest stadium, through its triumphs.
Elvin effectively rescues the International Olympic Committee.
And its controversies.
They had to strip her in front of the main grandstand.
The man who made Wembley. Listen to the complete series right now, only on BBC Sounds.
Mentioned earlier that Xabi Alonso has been appointed as the new manager of Real Madrid. Southampton have confirmed the appointment of Will Still as their new manager. He succeeds Ivan Juric, who left the club in April after relegation from the Premier League was confirmed with 7 games to go. Charlton Athletic will be playing Championship football next season. They've beaten Leyton Orient 1-0 today in the League One playoff final. Another game to reflect on from yesterday, and what a game for Arsenal's women. They beat Barcelona 1-0 in Lisbon to win their first Champions League title in 18 years. Stina Blackstenius scored the winner in the 74th minute after being played in by a superb pass from fellow substitute Beth Mead. Arsenal had been pitted as underdogs going into the match, with Barcelona having won 3 of the past 4 European titles. For England captain Leah Williamson, it's another major honour to go with her European Championship success with the Lionesses 3 years ago. How does this latest one sum up?
I can't do it, I'm afraid. I'm not poetic enough, because that's what this is. Turned up to try and do a job, and we did it, and we're going home with a trophy.
What were those last 10 minutes like? How hard did you have to work?
I have a rule not to look at the scoreboard, and I broke it about 3 times. But it was incredible. It was incredible.
At what point did you know that it was done, that you were going to be champions?
When that final whistle blew, Barcelona are an incredible team, and we hadn't put a foot wrong all game. And I didn't want that to happen in the 87th minute, so I'm glad that we didn't.
As someone who's been at the club pretty much all their life, how much has being a Champions League winner almost hung over you, the one that the club hadn't managed to do for 18 years?
It's every domestic trophy I've won with Arsenal now, and on a personal level I'm proud of that, but 18 years is a long time to wait for something. We took so much pride in being the only in the land. I'm proud of that legacy, and we just did it again. So,
in terms of celebrations, how big can you actually go tonight? You've got an England game in a week or so.
Not too big, but I'm going to have a lovely time with my family. I can't wait to see them. I'll probably cry more tears, but that's okay. Today is allowed to do that, and then tomorrow, Monday, recover and celebrate and enjoy it. It's a moment, and then we go again.
Just finally, it's been a little bit of an up and down season. Was this one for the fans for sticking with you all the time?
The fans have been incredible. We've said it over and over. They're with us. They're here in their thousands, and we are a football club that respects that. But I think what we've done off the pitch in the last however many years has been an incredible thing for women's football. I think we drive women's football on as a football club, and I'm very proud of that. But you need to win on the pitch, and we did today.
What an achievement from Arsenal's women. Leah Williamson speaking after their 1-0 win over Barcelona yesterday in the Champions League final. Full second half commentary of Ipswich Town versus West Ham on the way on BBC Radio Suffolk. Town trailing 1-0 at the interval. Suffolk hockey player George Pinners announced his retirement from the sport. The 38-year-old is one of hockey's most decorated goalkeepers, having won multiple international medals while representing Great Britain and England from 2009 up until his international retirement in 2021. Since then, he's won more domestic titles, but after 5 incredible years with the Old Georgians club, he told Wayne Bavin on our breakfast programme last week that the time has come to call it a day.
It's one of those where I think they always say in sport, when you know, you know. Obviously, I stepped away from international hockey after the Tokyo Games 2021, and the aim was to just really enjoy my club hockey and hopefully be able to focus on that and have some real success to end on. Very lucky that has happened. Sort of 3 league titles, European bronze, and could have stopped last year. Wanted one more crack at it, but like they say, when you know, you know. And it was very clear to me sort of halfway through this year that the end of the season was going to be the right time to stop.
When you're toying with the idea of retiring from a hugely successful career, it gives you a time to reflect, I would imagine, George. Think of your career, think what you've achieved. What have been some of the highlights? I think you probably touched on a few of them just then.
Yeah, it's really interesting because obviously there are a few standout on the pitch moments internationally, bronze medals at Commonwealth Games and Europeans. Domestically, was lucky enough to sort of win 7 league titles. But I think the thing that really stands out for me is sort of the memories around those things. Teammates that have become very close friends, the celebrations afterwards, the laughs in the changing room. I think they're actually the standout moments and the things I'll miss the most.
Just sit down for a second. Let me read these out to you. This might make you feel a bit big-headed, and rightly so. 195 caps for Great Britain and England. Medal winner at both the Commonwealth Games and European Championships, as well as being part of 3 Olympic campaigns and 2 World Cups. My goodness, what a career.
Yeah, it's really strange when you hear it back like that because it goes so quickly. And as soon as sort of one tournament's over, you're very much looking forward to the next. And so, yeah, it's only now when you stop and look back and you read it like that you're like, wow, did I really experience all of that? If you told me at 14 when I first played for England under 16s I'd go on to achieve even a quarter of that, I would have been delighted. So yeah, it's very strange in some ways hearing that back and sort of pinching yourself to be, was that really me?
It's been part of your life, hockey, for most of your life. Are you really stepping away from it completely?
We've got a little boy now who's just turned 2, and I think as all parents will attest to that, like, he takes up an awful amount of our time, which is fantastic. And I want to be able to prioritise him and other things. Since about the age of 14, 15, hockey has always come first. Like, it's been a choice to miss catch-ups with friends, family occasions, those type of things, to prioritise the hockey. But now I want to be able to prioritise all those things. So it is very much a decision for the next sort of 12 months of wanting to step away from it. That being said, I've said to the club, if they have an injury crisis, be it in the 2s or wherever, you know, they do have my phone number and we'll see. I'm sure I will come back to the sport at some point. But right now, I just want the freedom to be able to say on Saturday, yeah, let's go and do that this afternoon, which hasn't been something I've been able to do for a while.
Surely coaching must be in the back of your mind, you know, training and guiding the next generation of hockey player.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's easy to say just because someone, you know, if you deem my career successful in terms of what I achieved, like to be best placed to coach. I don't always think that is the case. I don't necessarily think the best players make the best coaches. However, mentoring, passing on advice, sharing where I maybe slipped up, things you can learn from is something I do like doing. And already with some of the junior goalkeepers and people in the setup have made myself available for that side of things. And something I really enjoy. So I'm sure something like that will continue in some capacity.
Suffolk hockey player George Pinner with Wayne Baven for BBC Radio Suffolk. I mentioned earlier in the programme, every chance he'll be at Portman Road this afternoon watching Ipswich Town in action. We're hoping they can sign off the Premier League season with a win. If they're going to do so, they're going to have to come from behind. They trail West Ham 1-0 at the interval. The second half is next.
With BBC Sounds, you're in control.
Good morning.
Let's get talking about it then.
I've got you intrigued, haven't I?
Volume up.
Ooh, that's a bit loud, isn't it?
Volume down.
I'm trying to be as quiet as possible.
You see? You're in control with the latest BBC News. Stop.
Oi! I was listening to that.
Play.
A woman from Bentley has found a rare round egg.
Rewind. Fast forward.
Finds how BBC being described as 1 in a billion.
Mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Take control with BBC Sounds.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Suffolk.
OK, let's run you through today in the Premier League so far then. Second half's getting underway in just a moment. In our main feature, Ipswich Town trailing 1-0 at home to West Ham. The champions Liverpool are behind to the FA Cup winners Crystal Palace at Anfield. The Eagles ahead by 1-0. Arsenal, the runners-up, 1-0 up away at Southampton. Manchester City are going to book themselves a place in the Champions League, you would think. They lead Fulham by 1-0. Newcastle still fourth in the table. They're goalless with Everton. Fifth in the table as things stand are still Chelsea, who are goalless away at Nottingham Forest. Aston Villa and Manchester United are goalless at Old Trafford, but Villa are down to 10 men. Their goalkeeper has been sent off. Elsewhere, Brentford ahead at Wolves. Tottenham leading Brighton by 1-0, and it's Bournemouth 0, Leicester City 0. Let's get back to Portman Road now on BBC Radio Suffolk. Ipswich Town 0, West Ham 1. Time for the second half. We can rejoin Brenna Woolley.
No changes to the 22 players that started this 4 o'clock kick-off on the final day here at Portman Road. The two teams just limbering up before the start of this second half. Down in blue, white, blue, playing from right to left against the claret and blue of West Ham. So that Town starting lineup: Walton in goal, a late replacement for Palmer. Town have got a back four: Twanzebe, O'Shea, Greaves and Davis. That's Morsey, the captain, alongside Kiyuste. In front of them, Hutchinson, Chaplin and Broadhead. And as Hurst is playing up top this afternoon. On the bench, Slicker, Luongo, Smodix, Jack Taylor, Clark, Boniface, Delap, Wolfenden and Burgess. So a strong Ipswich Town 20, or as strong as can be. Fabianski's in goal for West Ham. His back three: Todibo, Mavropanos and Kilman on a yellow. Then a four of Wan-Bissaka, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse the goal scorer, and Scarles. Socek plays in behind Bowen and Fulkrug. On the bench, Areola, Cresswell, Kufal, Paquetá, Kudus, Guilherme, Ings, Rodriguez and Irvin. Mr. Robinson, the referee, blows his whistle to get the second half underway, the final 45 minutes of football at Portman Road this season. Twanzebe wins a strong header far side, nodded on by Chaplin, guided by Kilman. To the left hand side, Scarles quickly up to the big man Fulkrug, who's barged from behind by O'Shea. Free kick to West Ham.
Yeah, definite free kick. Nice ball up to him, comfortable ball, and if you're going to make a challenge, then you're going to have to hit him in the back there, so definite free kick.
But Scarles is standing over at the moment for West Ham United. They've only got one win in the last 10 matches. That away win at Manchester United. They've also won at Arsenal and Newcastle in the Premier League this season. The Arsenal-Newcastle wins, clearly their best of the whole campaign, really, an indifferent one at best. Only one clean sheet in the last 10 as well. You'd like to think Town will get chances. Chaplin trying to head it on to Hurst, but Todibo and Mavropanos got themselves sorted out on the same wavelength. And now Todibo has the ball, a little bit more time. He knocks it forward, looking towards Bowen, nodded down by O'Shea, missed by Davis. He got lucky though, the ball went to Kiyuste, won by Alvarez. He's now going to go after Broadhead. Broadhead in field hits the goal scorer Ward-Prowse. West Ham capitalising on an error from Morsey to break the deadlock. Broadhead's won the ball well, but then blocked off by Todibo, who dinks it back to Wan-Bissaka. West Ham have it again with Alvarez, up to Fulkrug. Played in the Champions League final for Dortmund last year, Nicholas Fulkrug. Now West Ham have it. Did a lot of minutes for Germany at the last Euros as well. Got a couple of goals for his country. Alvarez up to the front man Fulkrug once again. Here is Wan-Bissaka down below us, down this West Ham right. Kieran McKenna, hands in pockets, looking on from his technical area. Bowen's picked up a nice position out to the left hand side. West Ham have it now with Scarles to the left and Souček underneath the West Ham fans. Low ball in from Souček on the stretch. Greaves gets rid of it into those West Ham supporters.
Yeah, there's a suggestion that they're bossing it already this half. You know, they've had the possession and they look a really capable side. They really do.
I hope it's not going to be one of those second halves that Ipswich Town just offer very little. It's comfortable for West Ham, because Town, if you weren't with us, were right in that first half. Played some really nice stuff. It was a really competitive game as well. It wasn't a dead rubber in the sense of a lack of competition between the sides. You wouldn't have known it was end of the season with both sides' fate signed and sealed. Todibo can't go forward, so he gives it back to Fabianski. Would love to keep a clean sheet in his final appearance for the Hammers. He gets it out to this right, and Todibo into a little gap, finds Fulkrug. Fulkrug stretches but still gets it under control. Then he lofts it out to the left hand side. Kilman brings it down that far touchline is Scarles. Good play from West Ham. Poor ball in from Scarles straight towards Walton.
Good move though. They've come down the right hand side and they've switched the play, comfortably got down the left hand side. They really did. And maybe the ball's gone in a little bit early, or you've got to say that the players that should be going in search of it are a little bit lazy.
13th consecutive season at this level for West Ham. Sloppy play at the back from Town. They've been in the top flight 19 out of the last 20 years. They're very much an established Premier League side. Here at the back is Mavropanos for the Hammers, still leading 1-0. Ward-Prowse the goal scorer not long before half-time. Here is Alvarez knitting things together in the centre, gives it to Bowen, gets it back. Bowen occupying Greaves. West Ham on the right with Ward-Prowse. The number 8, more than 300 appearances for Southampton before he moved on. Here is Wan-Bissaka, back to Ward-Prowse, little lay off to Wan-Bissaka once again. West Ham with pretty much all of the possession in the early stages of the second half. They had 61% of the ball in the first half. Here's Alvarez between the lines, picks out Ward-Prowse. Nice first time layoff from him, finds Wan-Bissaka. Bowen flicks it in field, but only to Chaplin. Chaplin to Morsey, back to Kayuste. Ipswich get up to halfway with Chaplin. Now Broadhead, what can Town do on this foray forward? Broadhead to the overlapping Davis. Todibo goes in there, takes the ball off of him, keeps it in play, only just. Now wants to go in a run, takes on Broadhead. Todibo still has it, infield, good play from him. Fulkrug trying to hold off O'Shea. He gets it back via Wan-Bissaka to Alvarez.
Did well to keep that ball in there, he really did.
He did do really well. West Ham with Kilman. Lovely sunny afternoon here at Portman Road, live on BBC Radio Suffolk. Your thoughts welcome afterwards. 0800 141 2121 is the phone number. Text 81333. Start those messages SFK. West Ham coming forward, nicely off from Bowen. Ward-Prowse to Fulkrug. 1-0 West Ham. Edge of the area, Bowen controls it. Shot from Souček, but Bowen was kind of in his way. It was difficult to hit. And it's trundled back to Walton. You can text 08000 321 333, or you can email me ahead of the Blue Hour tomorrow night, Brenner at bbc.co.uk, BRENNER at bbc.co.uk. Yeah, even though it's a bank holiday, there will be a Blue Hour on air from 6 till 7, talking all things Ipswich Town. Walton floats the ball onto the chest of Twanzebe on the far side. Now Morsey, keen to make amends for his part in the opening goal, gives it to Broadhead. Broadhead of the layoff to Kayuste. Now with Morsey once again talking in pre-match in his press conference and his programme notes of how much he wants to win this afternoon for those incredible fans, Sam Morsey. Twanzebe gives it to Hutchinson. Hutchinson gets on the afterburners, into the area, gets to the byline, held up by Scarles. Hutchinson couldn't get his cross in. Instead it goes back to Axel Twanzebe. Hutchinson again in front of the cobbled stand, left-footed, deep, high cross to the far stick. Davis nods it centrally, but into the hands of Fabianski.
Yeah, not much he could do, Leif Davis there. The cross has put him so far, sort of right on the byline, way past the back post, and he couldn't really sort of aim it at anybody.
He used it to Broadhead. Broadhead opens up from, he has a go and scores! Brilliant from Broadhead! from nowhere. He gets Ipswich Town right back into this game. It was a low stinger into the corner of the net off to our left-hand side. Fabianski beaten in front of the Sir Bobby Robson stand, and Ipswich Town draw level with 52 on the clock. It's 1-1.
That was a wonderful strike. He picked it up and he's got it completely under control. He knew exactly what he was doing. He just attacks the box, and then the strike is wonderful. It's crisp, it's low, it's very, very close to the post. Goalkeeper couldn't do anything about it. The speed beat him, the direction beat him. It's a great equaliser.
Yeah, it really was. Just a reminder of his quality. First Portman Road goal of the season for Nathan Broadhead. That's a really good one as well. It was his effort that Fabianski did well to claw out in the first half. And Ipswich Town are level. No chance of them rolling over and dying. Let's see what the next 48 minutes of this game, 38 minutes of this game brings. We're only 7 minutes into the second half. Out of his area comes Fabianski. No clean sheet for him in his last West Ham appearance. Knocks the ball up towards Fulkrug. Now Bowen picks up the pieces for West Ham. Fulkrug trying to get away from Morsey. A relieved man Morsey with that equaliser as well. He's in a tangle with Bowen, who sportingly picks him up in the challenge between the two captains. Kilman goes back to Mavropanos. Now the other centre-half, Todibo, has it for West Ham. It's a really, really good hit as well from Broadhead. Such quality off his right boot, low into the net. Fabianski beaten all ends up. Live on BBC Radio Suffolk. It's 1-1. West Ham with Alvarez. Gives it back to Wan-Bissaka. Checks back into his own half. Rolls the ball from shade to brilliant sunshine. Now Kilman on the far side. Scarles. West Ham fans behind him. He's got the ball back. Scarles looks up. The easy pass is back to Souček. Souček up against Chaplin. Finds Alvarez. Could be a really interesting 36 minutes to come in this game. Todibo to Ward-Prowse. Wan-Bissaka's thought about a running behind. Ward-Prowse still has the ball. Now with Bowen underneath us. He goes back to Todibo. On the centre spot, Mavropanos, closed down by Chaplin and Hurst. Bowen high on the chest, plays the ball off Broadhead, sees it out of play for a throw into West Ham. Bowen with a quickly taken throw into Ward-Prowse. Bowen wants the ball back, demands it, gets it in field, gets it off Wan-Bissaka. Bowen has it, good play from him, has a go and scores a brilliant goal. Oh my goodness me, that is Premier League quality from the best player on the pitch. Jared Bowen makes it 2-1 West Ham United, and Ipswich Town's lifeline was short-lived. What quality! We're not going to see that next season, thankfully.
Wow, that
was
absolutely top class. His movement, the way he just loans the ball with somebody just to get it back, and he's going into a more and more. It's going into a dangerous area the further he goes, and then the strike. Well, the strike is absolutely perfect. Christian Morton couldn't do anything about it, but he's come off this touchline. He's come off the right touchline. He's just borrowed the ball once, got it back, and then he's cracked it in. He is way above anybody else. He really is. He's
still doesn't get in the England squad. Unbelievable.
Top player. No, he doesn't, because for some reason we've got an abundance of left-footed players who love attacking down the right-hand side. So he could be one of the most unfortunate players ever.
Yeah, lovely footballer, and always comes across this way. He's clearly a good character. He captains this side, comes across ever so well when you listen to him speak. Real honest footballer as well. Well, wasn't 1-1 for long, was it? West Ham just having that quality over the top from Todibo. Bowen's after it. O'Shea looks it back to Walton. Walton closed down by Bowen, still full of beans. Forward it comes from Walton, won by Scarles in the air. Morsey gets the better of Souček. Now Chaplin in behind for Hutchinson, way too much on that. Two really good hits of a football we've seen in the second half from Broadhead and then from Bowen. Sadly, just one of those moments you've just got to admire and almost applaud that goal from Bowen, who started it, who demanded the ball down this right-hand side in a tight area from Ward-Prowse. He had two players, Davison Greaves very close to him. He was adamant he wanted the ball. He got it, pinged it to Wan-Bissaka, got it back, came in field, one thing on his mind, bang. 2-1. Here is Todibo. All the noise coming from the Happy Hammers, side that Ipswich Town faced twice in successive playoff seasons, 2004, 2005. 8 meetings in under 2 years between these two teams. It was a fairly regular fixture. Sadly, of course, Joe Royals Ipswich coming out on the wrong end of both ties. As Twanzebe gets the ball to Hutchinson, goes down on one knee, bounces back up. Excellent from Hutchinson. Well read though by Mavropanos. Stepped in there before Hurst could get on the ball. Hurst had very little to work with this afternoon. Such can be the role of a lone striker.
He's made some very, very good runs. You know, it's probably gone unnoticed, but he has really made the runs. He's trying to sort of...
Todibo floating a ball forward. Greaves heads it away, chested down by Ward-Prowse, the first goal scorer of the afternoon on BBC Radio Suffolk. West Ham lead 2-1 if you're just rejoining us after the break. Broadhead had Town level for a short time. Bowen infield looking for Fulcrook, comes back to Ward-Prowse. Here is Wan-Bissaka, now Bowen. Low ball is here from Bowen, who's got an assist and a goal. Also scored against Ipswich at the London Stadium. He has definitely been one of the best attacking players I've seen this season, if not the best, based on his performances against Ipswich. Given away by Alvarez. Hurst's on it. Infield from Davis. Picks out Chaplin. Chaplin onto Kiyuste. Kiyuste steps over the ball. He's held up by Kilman. Goes to ground. Finds Leif Davis. Going down the left-hand side. Wan-Bissaka just leans into it. He actually shoves Davis to the deck. Probably heard the referee's whistle. Let's go back to Graham.
Southampton level against Arsenal 1-1. Chelsea ahead away at Nottingham Forest 1-0. Man City, Newcastle and Chelsea in those Champions League places as things stand, with Arsenal, Liverpool and Tottenham now, of course.
Yeah, a lot of English clubs in the Champions League the next season. Of course, Crystal Palace will be getting ready for their first European season as well, having won the FA Cup. And of course, today's game is a dress rehearsal for the Community Shield, Liverpool Palace, at the start of the season. Davis on this free kick for Ipswich Town, trying to get a second equaliser in this match. 59 minutes played. It's 2-1 West Ham. Davis plants the ball into the West Ham area, off to our left. It goes through the box, headed back by O'Shea to Hutchinson. Hutchinson comes in field, thinks about a go, gives it to Kiyuste instead. Now to Broadhead. Broadhead knocks it up. Came off a West Ham player, bouncing around. Greaves is inside the penalty area. West Ham can't clear their lines. Maybe a chance for Chaplin, blocked off by Alvarez. Morsey shoots. He's on target. That was going low into the corner of the net. He hit it really well, the Egyptian, but Fabianski made the save.
Yeah, there was a lot of loose ball there. Nobody could really sort of get a decent header on the ball, and it was sort of bobbling about. It finally falls for Sam Morsey, and it's a decent strike.
It was. Fabianski did well, as West Ham played out short at the back. Last time West Ham were here, resulted in a 5-1 win for Ipswich Town. Remember, that being a terrific performance from Town back in the day. Crossfield ball, as West Ham were destined for promotion to the Premier League that season. Town weren't in great form. Ward-Prowse knocks the ball into the Ipswich area towards Fulcrook. Walton saw the fly to the ball, judged it well, raced out and got it. Morsey does well, gets away from a couple of players, plays it through towards Hurst. Hurst on a sprint. Hurst gets there ahead of Todibo. Flag is stayed down. Hurst towards the box. Todibo's held him up. Good battle between the pair. Hurst done just about all he could. He still has the ball. Appealing for a free kick, gets it. And it's a Town free kick. A few yards in from the corner flag. Town will be knocking it into the box off to our left.
Well, to be perfectly honest, right at the start of that, I thought Hurst was about a yard offside, and very surprised that the assistant referee didn't give it.
Leif Davis on this free kick. Fancy to be more goals in this game. Both sides certainly going for it. It's been a decent match, better than I expected, it has to be said. Town were behind 1-0, they equalised. Now they're behind 2-1. Davis on this free kick for Ipswich Town, just past the hour mark on the final day of the season. West Ham lead 2-1. Davis has Kiyuste there for the short pullback in the centre, as you'd imagine. The centre halves are up. Twanzebe's in there, Hurst's in there as well. It's cleared away, might drop down to Hutchinson or Morsey, both standing hands on hips. Davis on this free kick. Can Ipswich Town draw level for the second time on the final day of the season? Davis knocks it in, decent ball as well, glancing header away is affected by Kilman, and as far as Hutchinson inside the area, right of centre, still Amari Hutchinson has a go, blocked off, comes out as far as Kiyuste, plays it to Davis down the left channel of the area, tries to get it in low and hard, comes off Soucek. Alvarez gets there ahead of Davis and clears away for West Ham, as Davis was hoping the ball might go up for a throw in a corner. There's a player down inside the West Ham area, so the referee's blown his whistle. He needs some attention.
Yeah, Leif Davis was a little bit guilty of being a bit lackadaisical when that ball dropped out of the sky on the byline there. He should have just shielded the ball better than he did. He's allowed West Ham to clear a ball, and a lot of pressure there on West Ham, and it's now gone away.
West Ham have this man down in the 6-yard area off to our left-hand side. Looks like Mavropanos, who replaced Cresswell ahead of kick-off. You do wonder if this might be the moment for Aaron Cresswell to come on and make his final appearance for West Ham United, back at the club that sold him to the Hammers. Been at West Ham 11 years now and counting. Kieran McKenna at the moment having a one-to-one with Nathan Broadhead down below us, as the vast majority of the players are on this near side, either listening to Graham Potter and his staff or Kieran McKenna and his coaches. Mavropanos still being dealt with. There's numbers again, just to get in touch. We're on air till 7 here tonight on BBC Radio Suffolk. Hopefully before we're off air for the final time this season, we'll hear from Kieran McKenna and maybe an Ipswich Town player. If not, the player will be on the Blue Hour tomorrow night between 6 and 7. But give us a call, 0800 141 2121, or you can text your thoughts to 81333, start those SFK, or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. And if you fancy joining me on the Blue Hour tomorrow night, that's brenner@bbc.co.uk is the email, as Cresswell has been sent out to warm up, so to Jack Clark for Ipswich Town. So possibly Kieran McKenna was just explaining to Nathan Broadhead. I'll give you a few more minutes and then we'll get Jack Clark on for you. Play back underway. Morsey on the centre spot. 2-1 West Ham. 26 minutes still to play. Lots of football to go in this game. Hutchinson back to Twanzebe, now with O'Shea. O'Shea to the right-hand side, and Hutchinson running at Scarles again, getting to the byline. In comes his cross, off of Scarles, out behind. Corner kick to Ipswich, the first of the game. In fact, the first corner kick for either side in this match.
Yeah, it's been a tough game for Scarles. He's going to be a decent player, there's no question about it, but this is a difficult match for him against Amari Hutchinson.
Mavropanos back on the field, so West Ham up to full strength to defend against this corner kick. Ipswich Town trying to end this terrible run of 8 successive home defeats. Have a corner kick, and it comes from Davis towards the near post, dealt with well by West Ham. Poor clearance by Bowen. West Ham have attached the word poor to anything he's done this afternoon. Hutchinson knocks the ball back into the West Ham area. Greaves knocks it across the face of goal. Well done from Greaves. Might come out to Chaplin. Chaplin hits it into the middle, curling away out as far as Kiyuste. Back to Greaves, who did terrifically well 20 seconds or so ago. A very difficult position. Greaves burrowing his way down the left wing towards the corner flag. Still has the ball, brought down, tripped surely, free kick. Some excellent attacking work there from Jacob Greaves. Well done.
Yeah, he did well. He was 3 against 1 there, and for him just to keep possession of the ball was good enough, but he's actually managed to win a free kick right on the byline. It's about 5 yards in from the corner flag, so it's a short corner, and the referee's insisting it's taken from the right place. Normally you can just gain a couple of yards from that.
Leif Davis on this left-sided free kick for Ipswich Town, just 4 or 5 yards from the corner flag. It's a short corner really in front of the north stand. 2-1 West Ham live on BBC Radio Suffolk, and it comes low from him. Chaplin had the opportunity but sliced it wide. Didn't look the best ball in from Davis, but it almost turned out to be a fine assist for Chaplin. Here is Bowen, the match winner at the moment. Carries the ball away so far, gives it to Scarles. Scarles gets it back from Kilman. Kilman left-footed, plays it up towards Fulkrug. Fulkrug on halfway. Flag goes up against him. Did wonder about that. Free kick Ipswich Town with almost a quarter of the game to go. Now with Jacob Greaves in the centre circle. Plays a 1-2 with Kiyuste. Broadhead gets it back to Greaves. Now it's with Dara O'Shea. Town playing it around just inside their own half of the field. Almost robbed by Alvarez. Gets it back there to O'Shea. Always had him as an insurance policy just behind him, did Morsey. Twanzebe to Chaplin. Getting his legs moving far side. Hutchinson in front of him. Chaplin still has the ball down that right wing. Leaves it for Hutchinson. Hutchinson drifts in field. Goes square to Kayuste. Kayuste out to the left, and Davis now still right in this game. Infield to Broadhead. Can he be involved in another goal? Back to Kayuste. There is Greaves. Of course, the hope is that Town are back at this level in August of 2026, and like last time they only have one championship season and go straight through the division. Twanzebe to Hutchinson, up against Scarles yet again. Infield it goes to Chaplin, back to Hutchinson. Didn't work out between the pair. Souček passes it away up towards Fulkrug. Fulkrug plays a diagonal. Bowen gets the better of Davis, gives it to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka to Bowen, little flick off of his heel, finds Ward-Prowse. Jack Clark coming on for Ipswich Town, just taking off his bib down below us as Burgess and Delap also warm up. Wouldn't be a big surprise to see Burgess at some stage. We'll almost certainly see Delap. Bowen, ball in field looking for Souček, cleared away by O'Shea, who's caught late by Souček. That was a nasty tangle of legs between the pair. Just checking his right knee's intact is O'Shea. He's going to be fine.
Well, I could see Bowen receiving this ball, and I could see also the run that Souček was making, and I was thinking Bowen will see that run, and he did.
He absolutely did. Hasn't missed much. Liam Delap coming on for what's more than likely to be his final appearance for Ipswich Town. Just one season. We've enjoyed watching him bang goals into the back of Premier League nets and terrorise centre-halves in the top flight. He'll be doing that a lot, one would hope, next season, but it sadly won't be in the blue of Ipswich Town. Chaplin to be replaced by Clark, and I'm 99% certain that Hurst will make way for Delap. Let's go back to Graham for goal news. 2-1 here, West Ham.
Brighton have come from behind to lead Tottenham 2-1. Everton ahead at Newcastle, but as things stand, Newcastle still just about clinging on to a Champions League place.
On comes Delap for Hurst. Hurst getting a hug from Lee Grant. Nice round of applause for Liam Delap as well. And Clark on as well, who sadly won't be playing back at Sunderland next season for Ipswich Town. Terrific achievement, their promotion yesterday. A very young squad, and a manager who had never been involved in English football before the unknown was appointed to Stadium of Light. Delap immediately wins a header. Clark, the two substitutes line up. Clark with a shot across the face of goal. Picked up by Delap, it's turned into a pass. Delap can't get the better of his marker, stretches to win it. It's out for a goal kick, but almost the dream change from Kieran McKenna. Delap and Clark almost creating the fourth goal of the afternoon.
Yeah, terrific work. He's just come on. Great initial work by Liam Delap and terrific supporting play by Clark. But then when Delap gets the ball on the byline, he should then see Omari Hutchinson, who's in a terrific position to be brought into that attack, and he basically ignored him just to see if he could do a little bit more himself. That's his problem.
Lovely to see Delap sign off with a goal. Of course, it's not signed, sealed and delivered that he won't be here next season, but we all kind of know that the writing is on the wall. He has been speaking to clubs this week. Talk of Manchester United, maybe Chelsea, Everton. Certainly David Moyes confirmed in his pre-match press conference ahead of St James's Park that he had talks with Delap. For me, it wouldn't be the worst move in the world for him. Soufal about to come on for West Ham, along with Kudus, who's a very good player. Kudus, I think, maybe signs that Massimo Luongo might be stripping himself off, ready to play his final bit of football for Ipswich Town. Here is O'Shea. O'Shea to Twanzebe. Morsey has it in the middle of the Ipswich half, trying to get away from Bowen. Gets it to Broadhead, and Morsey was unhappy about the pressure that Bowen was putting on him. It's had a play for a through. Here comes the change from West Ham. Scarles is going off. Soufal might come on for him, and the other change is that Kudus is coming on, and Fulkrug is going off. So it's the front two that started West Ham's last game. The 2-1 loss to Nottingham Forest will be reunited. They started with Kudus and Bowen. Neither a striker, really. I mean, Fulkrug is an out-and-out striker. Kudus a wide player like Bowen, but they were a front two last week. And that's what they're going to do for the final 18 minutes of this game as West Ham try to secure their second win in 11 matches. Thrown on the far side, which Wan-Bissaka is going to be taking for West Ham. He's had a good first season at London Stadium. There was a Solskjaer signing at Manchester United, so Kieran McKenna will have worked with Aaron Wan-Bissaka during his time at Old Trafford. The town boss watching on. We'll hear from him before 7 o'clock. Out of play for a throw to West Ham. Bit of a lull at the moment because of the changes, really. It's rather broken up play. Kudus just on the field. He scored against Town earlier on this season. Has been linked with a move away this summer. He's one of their kind of crown jewels, Mohamed Kudus, former Ajax player. Kilman to Wan-Bissaka. Back to the halfway line. West Ham just passing it around, making Town work. Mavropanos to Todibo. To Suffolk. Has gone on this right-hand side. Wan-Bissaka has gone to the left where he played last week for West Ham. Davis with a throw for Ipswich. Gets it to Broadhead. Still 2-1 West Ham on BBC Radio Suffolk. Broadhead and then Bowen with the second half goals. Clark, the end of his debut season for Ipswich Town, has it. Jack Clark picks out Morsey. Morsey sets himself. Not yet for a shot, though. Now closed down by Claret Shirts. Out to the right-hand side. Hutchinson looks up, knocks a ball into the area, headed away by Suffolk as far as Kiyuste. He cushions it down for Davis. Still 16 minutes plus added on time to go. Harry Clark is down, incidentally, on the Ipswich Town bench, not named amongst the substitutes. I mean, literally sitting on the bench. Probably the likes of maybe Wes Burns and Chiu Ogbenny, back from his loan spell at Sheffield United, which was cut short by injury. Hasn't been near their squad for a little while. Jack Taylor having a little limber up underneath us, telling me post-match last week how much he's improved, what he's learnt from this season and how hungry he is for next season. Out goes that Smodics. And if he'll get some football this afternoon. Todibo looking for Kudus, chested down by O'Shea. Not a great deal happening at the moment in this game. Here is a Kudus, gets the better of Davis. As the two players go to ground, he's the quicker back to his feet. He goes back towards Kilman. Of course, West Ham at the moment without Michael Antonio have been for a little while since that nasty car crash that he was involved in. Thankfully on the mend. Fabianski out to Kilman. Smodics is going to be the next one on, I think, for Town by the looks of things. O'Shea gets the better of Kudus with his chest. Kiyuste looking for Hutchinson. In goes Kilman, out goes the ball. Not much of a spectacle at the moment, this game, is it?
No, it's just sort of gone a little bit scrappy, really. It's sometimes with all the changes that they take a little bit of time to settle in. You know, we had a great start by Clark and Delap, but that was only one attack. But generally speaking, both teams have gone a little bit negative.
The onus is on Ipswich Town to get another goal. Delap back to Hutchinson, everything on that right-hand side. Good ball and field from Hutchinson. Picks out Morsey, 30 yards from goal, maybe slightly further back. Davis gives it back to the captain in the central area. Now on the left wing, it's Clark, the number 47, running at Todibo. Gets inside the area. Good feet, dribbles beyond a couple of players. Morsey pulls it back to O'Shea. All 10 Claret Shirts behind the ball for West Ham, defending this 2-1 lead. Hutchinson up against Wan-Bissaka. Still Hutchinson. Goes back to Twanzebe. He doesn't like to cross the ball in at this moment. Gives it back to Hutchinson. Hutchinson forced away by West Ham. Alvarez is over the top of him. Hutchinson's on the deck. It's a West Ham free kick.
Yeah, I think he's decided to smother the ball, preventing the West Ham player from taking it away from him.
Taylor coming on for Ipswich Town. Let's go back to Graham.
Man City have doubled their lead at Fulham. They're looking good for a Champions League place along with Chelsea and Aston Villa as things stand. Newcastle dropping out as they trail to Everton.
Taylor and Smodics coming on. As I say, we haven't seen Smodics since Old Trafford in February. He's missed the last 11. Good to see him back. And he'll be a good player for Town next season. Very little doubt about that. So Nathan Broadhead's season ends on a goal-scoring note. He's coming off to be replaced by Smodics. And Taylor comes on for Jens Kajuste. Kajuste's last game for Ipswich Town. It's been a good loan spell from Napoli. He's done well this season, Jens Kajuste. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up next year. Gets a handshake and a pat on the back from Kieran McKenna, who has one window in terms of making a change up his sleeve. Lucas Paquetá, the number 10 for West Ham, he's a player. He's about to come on by the looks of things. So that's it for 4 changes made by Ipswich Town, that's right. Wonder who the 5th one's going to be. Don't think we're going to see Cameron Burgess anyway this afternoon. Massimo Luongo's surely going to get his cameo at the end of this game. Walton out to this left-hand side, throws the ball to Taylor, infield to Clark. Clark goes square to Twanzebe. 4 goals this season for Smodics. Love to add to that tally now he's back. Of course, the memorable one was the one at Man City, or one of them. Hutchinson away from Smodics. Smodics also scored in the win at Tottenham. So important goals. And Cresswell not quite ready to come on yet. So both managers waiting for the big send-off substitutions. Paquetá and Rodriguez. Here's the other player coming on for West Ham. That's right, isn't it? Turner brought on, Clark, Delap, and then it was Taylor and Smodics. And these will be numbers 3 and 4 for West Ham. Here comes Fabianski. 11.5 minutes to go in this game, which has become a non-event in recent times. Challenged by O'Shea on Kudus. Isn't enjoyed by the referee. Free kick.
This is where the game, it does lose its fluency, it really does. You know, we're just going to have another sort of substitution, 2 more coming on, and the game goes dead.
Yeah, here come the changes. Paquetá and Rodriguez are replacing Ward-Prowse and Alvarez. So they'll both go into central midfield. As Ipswich Town have got to defend this West Ham free kick. If West Ham can score from this, it's a long way back for Ipswich Town. 29,771. Attendances north of 29,000 have become a regular occurrence at Ipswich Town this season. It's been good to see. Bowen on this free kick, knocks it forward for West Ham, headed on by Mavropanos, but only to Christian Walton. Still 2-1 West Ham, both sides scoring in this second half. 10 minutes to go of Ipswich Town's Premier League season. Their last Premier League match for at least 15 months. Greaves gives the ball to Taylor. Taylor turns away from Paquetá, knocks it forward for Delap, trying to get the better of Mavropanos. Delap might have done that. Mavropanos just gets back in the nick of time and gets a shove in the back from Delap. Free kick and a yellow card. Well, he's not gone out with a goal in terms of his Ipswich Town career, but he's got yet another yellow card, Liam Delap. That is something he has to watch next season. It's his 12th of this campaign.
Well, Mavropanos must be a quick player, because I think Delap had a couple of feet start on him there, and he caught him up fairly comfortably, so he must be quick.
Needless from Delap, the shove in the back. Goodness me. That was a little bit daft from him. Yeah, I thought that as well. I thought Delap was going to be away from him there, given that obviously Mavropanos has been on the field since 4 o'clock, and Liam will be fit and fresh, and we know he's got a heck of a turn of pace. So Freddie Sears just departs Portman Road from off to our right-hand side. Was here as part of the in-house TV coverage. Graham has news of a big goal elsewhere in the Premier League.
It's a Manchester United goal against Aston Villa, which means Newcastle are back in the Champions League next season.
Brenner didn't react to that at all.
Given away by West Ham. Clark has it for Ipswich Town, edge of the area. Clark shoots, and it's just wide. And when I say just, I mean millimetres. That was so close to an equalising goal from the former Sunderland player.
Well, when it was on its way towards goals, I would have said it's going in, because it looked, we had a good view of it. We're pretty much right behind it, and that looked, as if it was definitely going to just bend into that far corner, but it just stayed a little bit too straight.
Come on, Man United. Here is Fabianski with this goal kick for West Ham. We've got, 8 minutes of normal time to go at the end of this match. Ipswich trailing 2-1. Jared Bowen with, as things stand, the match-winning strike, and what a strike it was after an equally well-hit ball from Broadhead, it has to be said, earlier on in the half. Hutchinson goes back towards Walton, left-footed. He rattles it forward over the halfway line, just keeping an eye on Massimo Luongo down below us. Smodics on to Clark. Ipswich Town still fighting. Clark inside the West Ham area, still has it, goes down. Corner kick to Ipswich Town. It's just a toenail in, really, from a West Ham defender. Got that away from Clark, and Town still shown plenty of spirit and fight out there.
Well, Clark has he's given the team 3 great contributions since he's come on. He really has. He's looked really sort of useful. He's taking players on. He's making great runs from left to right. Doing well.
He'll be an exciting player next season, Clark, if he's still here. Fingers crossed. No reason to believe that he won't be. Davis on this corner kick for Ipswich Town, trying to get an equaliser. O'Shea's at the far post, so too the Todibo. Todibo heads it away and then clears it down the line into touch for another throw. 7 to go. Yeah, just keep looking down at Massimo Luongo sitting on the bench behind Kieran McKenna. So no debut for Somto Boniface this afternoon. To the end of the last 2 seasons, he's changed his goalkeeper in added on time, Kieran McKenna, and given Halatki and Walton minutes when they've been sitting watching throughout the League One and Championship promotion winning seasons. Here is Walton on the ball to O'Shea. Back it goes to Walton. Now with Greaves, infield to Taylor. Back it goes to Christian Walton. 6 minutes to go in this match. O'Shea hasn't been anywhere near as good as it was this game for the first sort of hour, 65 maybe, the last 15 or so. Now Ipswich with O'Shea into the centre circle. Clark, keen to make a positive impression, finds Morsey. Morsey weaves his way between a couple of West Ham players, one of them Souček. Morsey's back on the ball, tries to go through the middle towards Delap, headed away by Mavropanos, picked up by Taylor, gives it to Davis. Davis loses that to Kudus. Kudus on the ball for West Ham, gets away from Morsey, brought down from behind the Ghanaian, takes a quick free kick out to the right hand side. Suffolk up against Davis underneath us. Luongo is about to come on for Ipswich Town. There will be some noise when he comes off the bench. He's ready to go. West Ham though passing it around. To my memory's first Ipswich Town appearance at Portman Road was against West Ham in a pre-season friendly. The Australian who rejoined the club for his second spell in January 23 and has played a massive part in those back-to-back promotions. He's about to come on for his 86th and final Ipswich Town appearance. Todibo short from the back to Paquetá. 5 minutes of the season to go. Likely to come on for Morsey. Sufal, like Souček from the Czech Republic. Here on the halfway line is Rodriguez. West Ham have it in centre field with Paquetá. Ipswich Town heading towards their 24th defeat of a very disappointing season. They're on 22 points. Morsey out to the right-hand side, and Smodics. Can Ipswich get a point from this game? Low in from Smodics, not good enough. Easily dealt with by Mavropanos, who's had a decent game. Now Rodriguez, edge of the West Ham area. Such a miserable, disappointing season, it has to be said. When you consider one home win, I think we can probably confirm that now. Although if they get an equaliser in the next couple of minutes, you never know. But that solitary victory here against Chelsea. Could have scored twice against West Ham to change that stat. Given away by Clark. Here is Kudus for West Ham. Bowen's available. Difficult ball to find now. Still Kudus. Now inside the area. Rodriguez just on as a substitute. Pulls it back. Kudus inside the box. Has a go and scores. 4-1 to Ipswich Town are ending this miserable, disappointing Premier League season on another low note, losing yet again their 24th defeat of this season. It's 9 in a row at Portman Road. They haven't won a single point on this ground in 2025. Miserable records, disappointing records going left, right and centre. Heading towards the final 3 minutes of this match, West Ham lead by 3-1. Goodbye Premier League.
Yeah, very surprised that he scored from where he was. It's a mistake by Clark. He's given away possession. He's been very good since he's come on, but a real bad giveaway of possession in his own half. Kudus gets on the ball. He just passes to one West Ham player, gets it back, and then he's been
the change that all Ipswich Town fans were waiting for. Massimo Luongo comes onto the field for his final appearance for Ipswich Town. What a servant this man has been these last promotion-winning seasons. But a major part arriving in the January and helping drive the club forward to promotion from League One, forming such a strong partnership with Sam Morsy as they went through the Championship. At the first time of asking, a massive presence around the club. Such wonderful words from Sam Morsy and Kieran McKenna in the build-up to this game. He's come on, the Australian, to replace Morsy. He's got the captain's armband on, and that's been warmly appreciated by these home supporters. Nothing less than he deserves. We wish him well. Clark coming forward for Ipswich inside the area. Clark across the face of goal. Hutchinson. Oh, what a chance for Hutchinson to make it 3-2. West Ham have a defender back, and it's gone out behind for a corner kick. Again, we've seen the best of Jack Clark there, Mick.
Yeah, superb play. It's almost as if as soon as he picks this ball up, he thinks, I'm going to have to make amends for the mistake that I made, and it's a terrific run sort of towards the left byline, and he cuts it right away across the 6-yard box, and Amari Hutchinson's coming in from there. He did his best, but that was a terrific defensive challenge.
You might be able to hear One Aaron Cresswell being sung by the West Ham fans. He's about to come on. Corner kick to Ipswich Town. Score now and you never know. We might have a thrilling, dramatic 3-3 draw. Town certainly aren't going to win this game now, though, as the stewards surround Portman Road, preventing any silliness at full time. Davis with a corner kick for Ipswich Town. Looks a good one, punched away by Fabianski. As far as Clark, closed down. That was on target and heading towards the net. Just lots of bodies in the way. One of them did its job. And as far as Hutchinson, into the area it comes, headed away well by Souček. Luongo is on the ball for Ipswich Town. His 86th appearance overall for Town. Clark, good ball forward to Davis, who's offside. Smolix couldn't wriggle his way beyond the final defender. Here comes the final change of the afternoon, and a poignant one at that. Aaron Cresswell about to make his 369th appearance for West Ham, his 312th in the Premier League, and is back at Portman Road, the club that sold him to West Ham over 11 years ago now. Been a mainstay, such a consistent performer for West Ham, and he's getting a standing ovation from the West Ham fans. And now the Ipswich Town fans, a fair number have cottoned on and are giving him a warm round of applause as he prepares to come on for Jean-Claire Todibo as we head into the added-on 7 minutes at the end of this match. I think the board's about to say.
Yeah, he was a good player for Ipswich as well, and he fully deserves this appreciation. He was an excellent player actually, and I'm just trying to think who displaced him. The Aston Villa who became a centre-back, and that was just a time where we had 2 very good left-backs in a row.
Yeah, Tyrone Mings, then it was Knudsen, wasn't it? Had a run of decent left-backs, Ipswich Town. One Aaron Cresswell, still being sung inside Portman Road. Headed away from the back by Greaves. Chested down by Kudus. Scored twice against Ipswich Town this season, like Bowen. 14 home defeats this season for Ipswich Town. That's their worst in their history. The lowest points tally ever in their history this season. As I say, 9 successive losses on this pitch. That's barely believable. Haven't even got a point here since Chelsea. Hutchinson goes back to Twanzebe. There is Luongo. Still 6 minutes to go of this game. We're only a minute into the added-on 7. Davis plays the ball off the backside of Suffolk. Then in field to Taylor. There will be a lap of appreciation from Ipswich Town's players, as is traditional after this match. Ball over the top from O'Shea, looking for Delap. Foul's given against Liam Delap. Best free transfer in history, I think, was one of the quotes from Kieran McKenna the other day. The highest IQ, or footballing IQ, of any player that he's ever worked with, which might suggest that if he wants to go into management and coaching, he could be very successful if he does that, the Australian. Let's go back to Graham.
Another goal at Old Trafford. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0. That will confirm Newcastle's place in the Champions League, along with Chelsea and Manchester City.
Here goes Fabianski with this kick for West Ham. O'Shea with a header from the back. Kieran McKenna's thoughts to come before 7 o'clock. Yours welcome, 0800 141 2121. Text 81333. Start those messages SFK, or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start your WhatsApps with SFK. Here's Kilman rather enjoying himself. Far side. The centre half goes back to Rodriguez. Now Suffolk. Surely Kieran McKenna must be relieved that this is about to be over. Infield from Suffolk, picked up by Paquetá. 4-1 to West Ham earlier on this season. 3-1 here this afternoon. Hutchinson gets the better of the defender far side. Smodix into the path of Hutchinson, wide right. Seen a fair bit of the ball in this game. Blocked off by Kilman. It's another corner kick to Ipswich Town. West Ham haven't had a corner in this game, which is rare. Town have had now 4.
Yeah, that's the third left-back that Omari Hutchinson has actually played against this afternoon. He's actually done all right, Omari. You know, he's been a bit of a threat. He's got into some good positions.
3 minutes into the added-on 7. Corner kick Ipswich. Hutchinson is on this one rather than Davis. In swing it comes off to our left-hand side. Decent ball, headed away though by Kilman, nodded forward by Greaves. West Ham haven't got it away, goes out to the right-hand side. Hutchinson, he controls it up against Bowen, back defending. Hutchinson then to Taylor. Taylor crosses towards the far post area, but it's caught in the air by Fabianski.
Yeah, comfortable catch, really. Bit of a waste.
It really was. Kudus to the halfway line. Infield to Paquetá. One touch from the Brazilian. Sufal likewise. He goes back to Mavropanis. West Ham have it on the edge of their penalty area. With Kilman, got that first half yellow card. And now West Ham playing at walking pace beyond the midway point of the added on 7 minutes. Ball skims all the way back to Christian Walton. Wasn't originally in this Ipswich Town team this afternoon. Alex Palmer I saw doing a pre-match interview when he came down the tunnel. Looked perky enough at that stage, but not able to start the match due to illness, we believe. Here is Wan-Bissaka, gives it to Paquetá, now up to Kudus. Wan-Bissaka's caught late by Clark. Town have the ball, but they give it back to West Ham. Broadhead man of the match for the only goal that Ipswich Town have scored. Paquetá to the left-hand side. West Ham have it with Kilman. Got the ball stuck under his feet. He's made a right mess of it. Up to Delap inside the West Ham area. Has it going? Why not? But he's pulled it wide. Just when it looked possibly like being his big moment.
I don't blame him for shooting. He's possibly just taken it a fraction too wide, but if he hits that well enough, then that could put some pressure on the goalkeeper. But he's dragged it.
It's Kilman that got himself in an almighty muddle. 2 minutes to go. Actually, not even that, just 90 seconds as the TV cameras zoom in on Ed Sheeran's box. He's got Lewis Capaldi alongside him this afternoon. I saw him arriving, the pair of them, earlier on. And enjoying themselves, no doubt. As Greaves heads the ball to Luongo. He loops it up towards Delap. Delap with a little nod down behind Clark. Clark into touch next to Kieran McKenna. Town ending the season on a losing note. Just that win at Bournemouth, their only victory in the league in 2025. Following obviously earlier successes against Tottenham and Wolves and Chelsea in the first half of the season. 15 of their 22 points away from Portman Road, so just the 7 points on this pitch all season. Kudus down this right-hand side is a lively customer. Bowen gets it from Paquetá and then gives it back to him. Bowen to Soufal, undoubtedly the best player we've seen here this afternoon. Bowen, and he's on the ball now, quickly gives it to Paquetá, gets it back, nice play from West Ham. Bowen at the heart of it, loses the ball to Smodics, in he goes. I think he's a West Ham fan, rings a bell by birth. Smodics, lovely play from Paquetá, little drag back, showboating, challenged by Taylor, ball out of play. We're into the final 10 seconds of Ipswich Town's time in the Premier League for now. Hopefully their time in the Championship will be as short-lived as their time has been in the top flight. And that, I'm afraid to say, is that. 22 years Ipswich Town waited to get promoted to the Premier League. Sadly, their time back in the top flight has lasted exactly 1 year. The hope is that their next spell in the Championship is as short as their last one, and they bounce back at the earliest opportunity. They just have not been good enough this season. But don't be sad that it's over, just be happy that it happened. Ipswich Town will be back. Well, that's that, Mick Mills.
Well, it's, for me, it's been an enjoyable season, just purely and simply to have a year in the Premier League and just to see the quality of the division, really. And I think it's better than I thought it was. It's got much more depth to it than I thought it had. I thought that we were sort of really moving towards what happens in Germany, in Spain, in Portugal, Italy, where only 3 or 4 clubs dominate the division. But I think the Premier League is beginning to throw up a division that's got some quality well down to sort of past double figures. You know, it really has. And I think this is another example today, really, where, you know, West Ham have been the visitors. We think that we're going to beat them. We think that West Ham are possibly not going to be as good as us. We also think that maybe our attitude will be better than West Ham's. Well, you know, I think most people they've had a big surprise today. We've seen a West Ham team that have got a lot of quality about them. They're very good on the ball. They've got some terrific individual players. They're very competent at the back, and they've actually given us a tough game, and the pattern of the game has been one that we've seen many times before, you know, where we've given a reasonable account of ourselves, but it just hasn't been good enough. And as I said, you know, before the game, I think we've been found wanting not just as individuals but also as a collective unit. You know, it's been really tough for us. It's you know, the mistake of Morsey, that typifies what this division can be all about. If you make an error close to your goal, then it will be punished, you know, and that's what happened, you know. But you know, West Ham, truly a good side, and in Gerard Bowen, I think we've seen one of the best individuals of the division. I really do believe that. And I can remember sort of speaking to people that were close to me when you had the Salah scenario at Liverpool. Will he stay? Won't he stay? Will he sign? Won't he sign? All the time that was going on, I was saying to people that I knew, well, if he doesn't stay there, I know exactly where I would go to replace him, and it would be West Ham, because I've seen enough of Gerard Bowen to say that he could do maybe not as much as Salah does, but he wouldn't be far away. He scores a lot of goals for West Ham. He would score an abundance of goals for Liverpool, that's for sure. He has a lot of assists. So I think, you know, we've seen today what this division is all about. A team that everybody looks at and thinks, well, they're below halfway, they can't be very good, but they are good. We've seen an individual in Gerard Bowen who just tells you what this division can throw up. He came up from Hull and he settled in to West Ham. He's their captain, he's their leader, he's their best player.
Can I just ask you who your Ipswich Town player of the season? vote
Well, I
would
don't
go
think
to.
there's any contest. I think it was a waste of time to have a vote. I really do.
I'm exactly the same. Go on.
You know, people were making cases trying to get a group of 4 to make an election.
Yeah.
Liam Delap's been the best player by a mile.
Where should he go this summer? Just finally, where are you on the Liam Delap's next? What would be a good move for him? He's going to have a pick of so many clubs, surely.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of suggestions, and I sort of tend to go for the likes of Notts Forest, Newcastle, teams around about that have challenged the top positions. They're not right at the top. The Newcastle one would obviously be if Isaac was to leave. If he was to leave, Liam would be going to a club that's got fantastic supporters. They're a good team. They're brilliantly managed, and he would get a constant game. He would be in the starting 11 from the word go, and then it's up to him. And the same thing would happen at Notts Forest. That would be. He's got an ex-player father, and I'm sure he will be looking at that type of scenario. You can earn fortunes anywhere in the country, so that the money doesn't come into it for me. You can play for any Premier League team. You can sign a 4-year deal for any of them, and you are a rich man overnight. That doesn't come into it. Go where you're going to improve and develop your career. Notts Forest or Newcastle.
The Ipswich Town players about to come out for their lap of appreciation, as it's kind of known, many of them carrying out their kids off to our right-hand side here at Portman Road. Going to skip downstairs and hopefully grab Kieran McKenna once he's stopped being involved in that. We'll hopefully hear from an Ipswich Town player as well before off air at 7. But if not, they'll be on the Blue Hour with me tomorrow night between 6 and 7 on BBC Radio Suffolk. Sadly, Ipswich Town couldn't end on a high point. They've gone this entire season with just that solitary win at home. Chelsea back in December. It was another defeat here this afternoon. 3-1 West Ham have beaten them. It's Championship football from now on in. We'll be back in August.